wickets patrol the cover boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. We would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
Apparently there's an important sporting contest in northwest London this week, and the whole of the nation's eyes will be upon it. They must mean Lords and the second ODI between England and Pakistan. It was all a bit of a stroll for England's patchwork quilt of a team on Thursday, but we expect Pakistan to come roaring back in front of a capacity crowd at the home of cricket. Good morning, good afternoon, good dawn, good dusk. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to Guerrilla Cricket, the home of revolutionary and fearless cricket commentary. I'm Guerrilla Hendo, Nigel Henderson, and with me to chew the fat over all the things that have been happening this slightly rainy morning in London are Tony and the Bear. Hello, chaps.
Good morning.
Morning, everyone. Morning, Hendo.
Morning.
Court of a team. Where have I read that before?
You might. Oh, hang on. Did I take that from your article the other night? I think I might have done.
I believe you may have done. Yes.
Yes. It's a bit like when you come up with a new song and then realise it was My Sweet Lord and it was written by someone else, but you didn't realise it was in the head. Anyway, England, an easy win, a comfortable win, comprehensive win, some would say, on Thursday by 9 wickets, and kind of belying what we think about changing teams that win or don't win, and not changing teams that do win. We've got contradictory messages coming out of the camps, because both Pakistan and England are unchanged for this match, and on this occasion Pakistan have won the toss and will bowl. The match has been reduced to 47 overs a side. It means that 2 bowlers will be allowed to bowl 10 overs each, and 3 bowlers a maximum of 9. Well, England are going to have to go out there and prove that they are formidable, even at B team level, with the bat this morning, opening or starting the match off. How different a challenge will that be, Tony?
I think it will be a bit different. I'm sure with their tails up, and that 9-wicket win, they'd be wanting to bowl first at Lords. It seems like a bowl first day. I think it'll be an interesting challenge, to be honest. Phil Salt wasn't really amongst the runs. Milan, a ground he knows so well, of course. But they're going to be severely tested, I think, with that Pakistan attack with some favourable conditions, and I think it'll be a very different sort of game to the one we saw in Cardiff.
I think it will, and I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried about this team, Bear. I was looking through the list A stats in particular of a number of these guys who haven't played any one-day international cricket. And there aren't a lot of them with the experience of scoring big runs in an ODI. You've got Dawid Malan, you've got James Vince. In List A cricket, they've scored a huge number of runs, but very few others have. Is that going to make it difficult for England?
It possibly could do. I mean, I think they have to take heart, though, from the other day. I mean, I know it's a small score to follow, but they were rattling on about 6 and over. If you're going to bat first, and they only lost 1 wicket, you know, they got looked at that, and they went 20 overs, and scored 140 runs. You look at that on a I mean, it's a different wicket and all that, but I mean, you look at that on a 50 over score, you should be looking to get 330, 340, and they've got to keep that in their head and go, well, we were capable of that against this same bowling attack.
But with a B team, even with this B team.
Even with this B team.
Yep, okay, that's a fair point.
Well, I think, like Dawid Malan.
Well, I just want to point out.
No, I was going to say Dawid Malan, as you know, he's proven himself to be undroppable, isn't he, for England? You know, I was having a chat with Knackle, and I think maybe he should be called up to the Test team.
I think he should. I mean, I was looking through the stats, and it's amazing to think that Zach Crawley has already played almost as many tests as Dawid Malan, and yet they're sort of 10 years in age difference. I think Dawid Malan is a man who's been much underused by England in all forms of the game. You'd probably go along with that, wouldn't you, Tony?
Yeah, I would. I think he was slightly hard done by and wasn't given a lot of patience by the selectors after he did so well in Australia. Form tailed off, but that can happen to anybody. I mean, that's certainly true of Crawley, of course.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Well, anyway, the batsmen are out there. We need to see some runs from Phil Salt, I think. Again, if you look at his record, it's not that encouraging at 50 over level. It's very good at T20 level, but it's a different sort of game. Anyway, we've got a jingle that goes a bit like this.
Get up on there. So salt, yeah, Phil is here. Want you to push it good into the offside. Scores runs all round the park. There's no way you can hide. Push it. So salt, yeah, Phil is here.
And opening the bowling for Pakistan is this man.
Ooh.
It's always time for Shaheen Afridi.
No, not that other guy, Shaheen.
It's always time for Shaheen Afridi.
No, not that other guy, he used to find the ball.
Shaheen Afridi. Shaheen Afridi.
There you go.
Just the 2 slips for the left arm over the wicket bowler, and Phil Salt plays his first ball to mid-wicket. There is no run. I will run down the teams just in case you've forgotten. For England, Phil Salt, Dawid Malan, Zach Crawley, James Vince, Ben Stokes, John Simpson, Lewis Gregory, Craig Overton, Bryden Cast, Saqib Mahmood, Matt Parkinson. And after the next delivery from Shaheen, who's coming in from the pavilion end, I will bring you the Pakistan team. Here he comes again into Salt. Salt drives, lovely shot, straight down the ground. That's going to race away right in front of the pavilion for one of these.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Well, that will give him confidence, I would have thought. It was a sort of rather loose drive that he got out to against Shaheen Afridi on Thursday, but that one was much straighter. He wasn't reaching for it, and he played it in a very compact manner indeed. Malan had to just jump over the ball at the far end as it bulleted towards him, and Salt settles down and waits for next delivery. Very overcast Lords. This one he leaves outside the off stump, not that far outside the off stump, and through to Mohammad Rizwan it goes. Pakistan line up like this: Fakhar Zaman, Imam ul Haq, Babar Azam, Mohammad Rizwan, Saud Shakil, Shoaib Maqsood, Shadab Khan, Fahim Ashraf, Hassan Ali, Shaheen Shah Afridi, and Haris Ralph. It is, of course, Ben Stokes' 100th one-day international. It's extraordinary how much cricket you can get through at international level these days. He's only 30, but there he is. He's already played 100 ODIs. Afridi in again. And bowls to Salt. Outside the off stump, he does have a wavy drive at this one. He loves to drive on the up, and I'm not sure that was the ball for it, but he's beaten by this one. Babar Azam is quite excited. He's encouraging his fielders, and England remain 4 for no wicket. So Ben Stokes' 100th cap, which is an incredible landmark, and one that he probably wouldn't have reached until the early part of next year, had he not been called up.
How did he go last time at Lords, I wonder?
Oh, have you got those details, Tony? Sounds like you've done some research.
Funny that.
Afridi in again, bowls to Salt, and Salt assaults this one really. He just paddles it away through mid wicket with a short arm jab, and it's 4 more.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, that was Phil Salton battery. It really was. There it goes. Tell me, Tony. I've tickled Tony. It's always good to tickle Tony, although not actually with physical contact. But yes, do tell me about Ben Stokes.
Well, his last ODI at Lords was obviously the World Cup final, wasn't it? So 84 not out, super over, and didn't take a wicket though, number 20. I think.
Oh, well, he's rubbish, isn't he? He's rubbish. Calls himself a cricketer.
What a day out!
What a day out, indeed.
In fact, there's a lot of players on both sides who played at Lords recently in ODIs.
Shaheen Afridi in bowls to Salt. He goes back to this one, and he drops the ball down onto his foot, and it runs off his foot into the covers, and there is no run. So a very good first over for England. Not really much movement for Shaheen, despite the fact that we do have this cloud cover, and despite the fact that we always say at Lords, look up rather than down, and England are 8 without loss. Tweets!
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm going to start on YouTube actually today, breaking a bit of tradition. Ray PMB9 scenes old men smoking. Oh, I think that's probably us. Hi guys, says Rita Gupta. How are you? We are very well, thank you, and welcome. Jeff G. Thomas, good morning, Gorillas. I have a feeling today will be a little tighter than the previous meeting in Cardiff. Yes, we think that. Diana Keithley says, afternoon all, looking forward to a good game, weather permitting. Well, it has just permitted, Diane, so we are delighted that you are here to share it with us.
Maybe that's it. You have to go and get a weather permit. Maybe we didn't get enough weather permits this morning. That's why it was rained off for an hour and a half.
Rabbi Nair, by the way,
the cricket gods, they hand them out apparently. What's a hoax?
About an official second outbreak in the team, but apparently it was a hoax. Being outside cricket.
Oh, that's jolly funny.
No.
We'll have some jingles in a second.
We're going to we'll jingle up the new bowler in a minute. Down the leg side, it's going to be a wide, and it is indeed one of my favourite jingles.
Bowling at.
Introducing the next generation David.
That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name.
David Milan, congratulations.
Yes, indeed, it is Dawid Malan, fresh from a very elegant 68 not out on Thursday. 2 slips, ring of 3 on the offside, mid-wicket, mid-on, third man, long leg. He's in bowls and he drives, again, equally fluently to Thursday, but finding the man at cover, and there is no run. Tony!
I'm just looking to see if there's anyone joined us on Facebook. Well, there are, but they haven't identified themselves as of yet. Gloomy Aspect is with us on Twitter, as is Saimi Tweets.
Okay.
But no one's really sending us messages yet.
Oh, Hassan Ali bowls to Milan, and he aims a drive off the back foot, and he could so easily have chopped that down onto his stumps, which would have been very disappointing for all those fans of his that remain at Lords, if indeed there are fans, now that he's left Lords for the pastures of Headingley. But there is no run, 9 for no wicket, 8 to Salt and a wide. And Milan is just trying to play his eye in, as it were. In comes Hassan Ali, the nursery end once again. Bowls, that's hit him on the pad. Good, worth a shout. As it came back into him, I think maybe a little bit high. Hassan Ali wasn't that excited. I was probably more excited on his behalf. And it certainly won't be reviewed. Now the GPL is open. The GPL is a wonderful thing today, because it is worth loads and loads and loads and loads of cash.
£110.
£110 for a £1 stake. You won't get that at Wembley tomorrow. So please pile in on the GPL as Hassan Ali is in again. Or has he got a little edge there? No, but he prodded at one that went across him outside the off stump and very nearly got a little feather. So Milan not quite looking at ease at the moment. And England remain 9 for 9. £110 to take part in the GPL. Well, let's just explain what the GPL is. It's the Guerrilla Prediction League, in which you estimate how many runs you think in total will be scored in the day. That's not for one team, that's for both teams added together in the day. You go to our website, guerillacricket.com/competitions, and you pay us £1 for every guess you want to have. You can have as many guesses as you want, as long as you pay us £1 for each. And if you get it on the nose, it can be very exciting at the end, as Hassan Ali is in again. And again, another drive essayed by Milan, but closing the face ever so slightly. Didn't really time it, and it runs up to mid-off. There is no run. Yes, if you get it on the nose, you get all the money that's in the pot. Now, when I say that the pot starts at £110, if loads of you pile in and all estimate enormously, if all of you were to put £10 on today and have 10 guesses, well, it would be the most exciting day in GPL history, but it would also be helpful to keeping Guerrilla Cricket going as well. Here comes Hassan Ali. He's edged that one. Oh, it's been caught. It's been caught at second slip. I thought for a moment it might have just dropped short, but no, Milan goes, and oh well, England are doomed.
It's a very loose shot.
It's a hell of a delivery, because it's moved up the hill, and it's been taken really well by Shadab Khan at second slip. He's pretty handy in there, and Milan just didn't look himself this morning. Maybe the delay had got to him, and he goes off for a duck from 6 balls faced, and that is a great start for Pakistan, who are trying to come back from what happened on Thursday. They'll be more than happy.
Well,
Tweets.
yeah,
I reckon a morning like this at Lord's, I mean, I know if I was watching Middlesex, I'd be saying doomed already, but
yeah, but that's Middlesex.
It could normally claim 2 or 3 wickets before lunch on certainly with red ball cricket. Once I see weather like this at Lord's, bit of cloud cover, it spells doom for many opening batsmen, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but I mean, it's curious, isn't it? Because I didn't get the impression that Shaheen Afridi is a man who does swing the ball a lot, and there didn't seem to be anything in his first over from the pavilion end. And in terms of swing, there wasn't really anything in that Hassan Ali over, but he did get it to move off the pitch up the hill there, so there is something out there, but I'm not quite sure whether it's the pitch or the overhead conditions. He may indeed have one ball still to go. No, in fact, that was the final ball of the over. So after 2, England are 9 for 1. New batsman will be this man.
Zach Croy was a cricket player, a damn good cricket player. But he was moved from the middle order to open the batting. Now, trapped in the English professional cricket circuit, Zach Croy must fight to survive.
Well, he survived pretty well on Thursday, didn't he, with a lovely 58 not out on ODI debut. But he won't be facing immediately, because it will be Shaheen Afridi into Salt, who fends this really off his hip. Very fine indeed down in front of that new stand. The Compton, or is it the Edridge? I'm never quite sure which is which. Anyway, they've got through for a single, and England go
You're
to
looking
10
from
for
the
1.
pavilion. Compton left, Edrich right.
Oh, right. I always thought it was the other way round. But anyway, we're talking to an expert on Lords in Tony.
I like Hassan Ali's appeals.
Oh, yes. He's a very good appealer. He's Oh yeah, what's he doing? Hang on. Oh yes, well I think we've seen that before, but I can't really describe it. It's extraordinary. Anyway, here comes Shaheen Afridi into Crawley, and it's Salt still. Hang on, did they get 2 runs? They must have done. And now they think they've got a wicket caught behind.
They have.
They have got a wicket. Phil Salt was trying to pull, and he's got an inside edge. He's reviewed it though, seemingly, because Richard Illingworth has made the signal, and England are either 11 for 2 or 11 for 1, which would be a shame if Salt has got out as well. He started quite well, and perhaps just going a little bit too hard, I think.
Well, it came back quite dramatically, didn't it, off the pitch? I can only think he thinks he didn't touch it at all, and it flicked his back pad instead, in which case they might go for LBW as well. But I haven't been given out. If it was umpire's call on the top of the mid-bail, it would still remain out, of course.
Well, you think he was giving out LBW?
No, I don't. I think he was giving out attempted catch. Oh, it's never going to be LBW either, is it? He's not out.
I was going to say, it was high. It's sort of he's gone through it. In fact, it doesn't look like there's any edge at all. He's trying to pull it, and if got any edge, it would have been an under edge, really. It's probably flicked his shirt at around rib height as it goes, or lower rib height, and there's absolutely no indication of that being out. So Phil Salt survives. Richard Illingworth has to say, I've got it wrong, and England remain 11 for 1. Hey!
Phew! Got away with that one.
A lot of daylight there between bat and ball. When you saw the replay, it was extraordinary what they thought they heard. But
well, I think it was partly because the ball seemed to die, like it had pace taken off it as it got through to the wicket keeper. So they obviously thought it had hit something to take the pace off it.
It did hit something. Probably hit the shirt. He's in again, full of ball and driven straight to cover. Now Salt doesn't seem to have a defensive bone in his body. I have to say, he's trying to absolutely hit everything, and this may be the way he played. I haven't seen enough of him, and certainly this is probably the way he plays in T20 cricket, but I figured he's got to just have a little bit more of a look before going completely crazy. Even Jason Roy has a look for at least 2 balls.
Grew up in Barbados, didn't he? Perhaps he's got a hint of Caribbean flair there.
Phil Salt grew up in Barbados.
He did. He was raised in Barbados. He was born, I'll tell you after this, in Wales.
He was born in Wales, brought up in Barbados.
Yeah.
Extraordinary. Defended up to mid-on. I didn't know that about him. They won't take a single. As you look at him under the helmet, he looks a bit like Matt Pryor, but I'm sure he's got more hair. 11 for 1 is the score. Yes, Tony, tell us more.
He was born in Bordewidan, which has a castle, but sadly only one pub.
Oh.
Decided to look up about Bordewidan, where he was born.
Well, I guess the pub's quite busy and they do all right then, eh?
It is. It's the Thai Fry Inn, which sounds like it should be a chip shop, but that's not. It's TY Thai Fry Inn, the only pub in Bordewidan.
So thanks for that fabulous background knowledge from Tony. Again, he aims to drive this one, but drags it up to mid-on, and there is no run. He's got his double figures. He's got 10. England have 11 for 1. There is 1 ball remaining in the third over. If you're just joining us, there has been a delay of about an hour and a half, and the game hasn't suffered greatly. It's only been reduced by 3 overs aside. And so if the rain stays away, we should have a very competitive game here. But it's already been quite exciting. Things are happening. As Afridi, left arm over the wicket, comes in again, and he drives aerially. Oh, and it's been dropped! Great effort by Imam-ul-Haq, diving away to his left there at backward point, but he couldn't hang on to it. Salt has come through for the single. And, well, he lives...
dangerously
to Phil Salt. He's kept the strike. 12 for 1 is a score, and 3 overs have gone.
Yeah, we should say a quick happy birthday to Leah, although she's already said she's not listening because her parents are there, so maybe not.
Oh,
but happy birthday anyway, definitely. Martin Lawrence says, random cricket question here. I know, but I wonder what percentage of one-day cricket games have been had reduced overs. Ooh, well, that's a question. Ooh. One for Knuckle, I think.
Well, I think it's more one for Zaltzman, really, because that's going to take a while to investigate, I would think. But there may be people out there who know shortcuts and can find out such things like that.
Harriet Atkinson. Sorry, go on. No, I was going to say Harriet Atkinson says, I've got the garden chair out, hoping for some sunshine. Well, I can tell you the weather in Claygate is drizzly. I don't know where you are, Harriet, but if you were anywhere near me, you're not going to see any sunshine for a wee while.
Yes, it's bright cloud here where I am, not so far from Claygate, and now Phil Salt aims a reckless
Fucking
drive
hell, man.
at a ball moving away from him outside the off stump. What is up with this man? Has someone, I don't know, injected him with something?
He's decided.
Did they just sort of hold him down and put caffeine into him in huge doses?
Yeah.
He just wants to hit everything, and I don't think this is the way to go
Well, I've gone under.
in ODIs.
I've gone under for the fall of the next wicket. I went under for the fall of the first wicket, thinking the Salt would be out first. But he's still there, so I went under for the fall of the second too.
How long can he last? Hassan Ali into him, and he gets that one to jump a little bit off the pitch. He's trying to turn it into the onside, get a bit of a leading edge into the covers. There is no run.
Well,
I feel as if Phil Salt is talking his way or playing his way out of a potential position in England ODI cricket by his recklessness. Now, if it comes off, you say brilliant and how wonderful it is. But when you're just trying to lay the foundations of an international career, I'm not thinking. Okay, maybe playing for the team, but he's not really doing himself much good. If he gets out for 7 and 11 with ridiculous shots, he goes after this one. It swung away. He didn't time the drive. Maybe toe-ended it a little bit. Babar Azam runs around at mid-off to field, and again there is no run.
Well,
and despite all this attempt to smash everything, he's got 11 off 15.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking he's watched too much Johnny B, isn't he? He's like, I've got to be Johnny B.
He's got a list day average of 33 and a
not
highest
great,
score
is
of 137 not out.
Yeah, it's not great. I think he's got 103 or 4 50s, but a lot of these guys haven't played a lot of 50 over cricket. Hassan Ali in, and he comes down the wicket and drives
that's lovely.
up again. Now that is a glorious shot, actually. That was much more controlled, and that has run up towards the pavilion for 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Not to the pavilion, in fact, up towards the nursery end. That shot. That was much better. He stayed with the shot, didn't he? A lot better there. Didn't let his head go a little bit.
No, it's a lot of bottom hand, isn't it? And a lot of his shots, the bottom hand takes over, and they're all closed in the face of the bat.
Ali in again. He smashed that. He's trying to clear mid-on, and he has just. It plugs. But they will get back for 2. He's herring back for the second, thinking that maybe he could get a third out of it, but he's not going to. Well, it's all action at the moment. England moved to 18 for 1. Salt has 17. Crawley is yet to face, and is probably standing at the other end thinking, what on earth is going on?
Wow.
Crazy stuff. Anyway, entertaining. Michael Goff is the other umpire, and he's signalling no ball. It's going to be a free hit. Oh, even more carnage. Oh, my goodness me. That's a little bit harsh, isn't it? Because his foot, actually, his front foot doesn't actually land completely.
Well,
the heel doesn't come down, a bit like a spinner. Hassan Ali in again. This is a free hit, is it not? And
yes.
What happened there?
He would have been out OBW.
He tried to whack it into the onside and was hit on the pad and would have been out LBW. The ball runs into the covers, and there is no run, and there is no wicket. 19 for 1. 1 ball remaining in the 4th over. We'll come to more tweets at the end of this over, and anything could happen. Literally anything could happen.
Actually, that was a very good ball.
Plumb there, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
it was a very good ball.
Gone
For
right
a free hit.
across.
Well, that's a free hit.
It was.
Right, so Anna gone.
Worked away through square leg this time. There's going to be 1. There's going to be 2. Shana Freedy is also herring round, and he slides in that long leg extending in front of him, and he keeps them to 2. It's the end of the over. 4 gone. England 21 for 1. What were we about to say, Bear?
Oh, well, I was going to say Alan Reynolds has punted on the GPL already, and he's covered both ends of the spectrum. A total England collapse. He's gone for 177, which would be a total England collapse, and 501 at the other end.
Wow! That has to be the biggest margin we've ever had on a GPL,
He's
doesn't it?
covering himself, isn't he?
177 to 501.
I have
I'm
to
trying
read
to think.
this tweet of... Sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
This is just so extraordinary. It's our friend Grand Theft Auto says, not joking, it is International Naked Swimming Day today, so I'm off shortly to participate. We'll send SFW photos later, darlings. What is SFW? Is that something I should know about?
Don't know.
Hopefully it's not before and after immersion in cold water shots.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's probably not what we need to see.
You get yourself banned on Twitter for that, I'm sure.
Oh, really?
Probably.
Okay, well, that's worth doing in that respect. 21 for 1. Crawley, fine, he's going to face a ball. It's going to be from Shaheen Afridi. Well, it was, but now he's saying, hold on a second, I'm not quite ready. He's holding up his bat, and he's holding up his hand almost in supplication. But it now appears that he is ready. And he goes down under that helmet and waits for his first delivery from the 21-year-old in bowls. He bowled him! He bowled him with a Yorker! Absolute beauty from Shaheen Afridi. Poor old Zach Crawley. Can't believe what's happened. 58 not out on Thursday. And first baller today. England are 21 for 2.
So get on your bike and take a hike right out of here. Your history, no good for me. Your history, nah.
Has to be said, that's a cracking ball to get first up, isn't it?
It
I mean, that was right in the block hole. Yorker length. He's a tool man. I think he got his bat down, got an under edge, didn't he, into the floor? And then just,
I think that's probably what actually took it onto the off stump. It wasn't that wide of off stump, but it just got enough bat on it to actually direct it onto off stump, I think. And so he's unlucky in that respect. I was looking to see whether it was a slow ball, but it wasn't. It was full speed right up there. But as you say, an absolute cracker.
Well, does that bring the skipper out? It does, doesn't it?
SFW, by the way, is suitable for work.
Oh, okay.
I'm told by Jeff Thomas, amongst a few other people have pointed that out to me.
No, it brings the high scoring James Vince. So set yourselves for 27 and out.
So I'll go over the fall of the next wicket, but under the one after that. Okay, here we go. It's this man. Such a dramatic jingle for a man who always gets 27.
I've never really understood the connection between James Vince and Nessun Dorma.
Because it just goes Vincero.
Oh, is that what it said?
Yeah.
I couldn't pick it up. Well, he's a man who, in List A cricket, can build a decent innings. Whether he'll do it today, we wait to see. He's had 17 ODIs beforehand, only 322 runs and 150. Shaheen Afridi into James Vince, and James Vince goes back and then just drops this down, takes the velocity out of the ball, guides it towards second slip, and there is no run. Tony, it must be going crazy on Twitter.
Oh, all sorts of things, apart from people telling me what SFW is. Mr. Singh! Hello, Mr. Singh. Pakistan, a very strong team.
Hello.
Jeff Thomas says, a very apt football-related jingle for this weekend. Diana says, you should first establish yourself before trying to bat like Hayden Jayasuriya or Gilchrist. She also said, is he worth his salt as an ODI batsman? Jeff Thomas said, not out. But that was from an earlier review.
Afridi back in again. Bowles defended on the front foot as it probes around about middle stump, and there is no run. Heavy clouds still loitering over the top of Lords. I'm surprised actually we haven't got the lights on yet. I wonder whether we will do before too long. Be interesting to see, but it does look gloomy. It looks more gloomy there than it does in my part of London, I have to say. In from the pavilion end. Oh, he's found the edge! Oh, it's just short of Shadab Khan diving away to his left in front of first slip from second. But neither could get there. And Vince escapes. Well, escapes. It drops short. You can't say it's a drop. But that's kind of what we've come to know and love from James Vince. The little drive, the slightly loose drive. It wasn't a bad shot, actually, to be honest. It wasn't a lot more he could do with it. Maybe just left it alone. But wow, yes, I'm thinking that 177 looks like a good call at the moment.
Well, anyway, funnily enough, the line on James Vince's runs and the bookies is 27.5.
Hey, Shaheen Afridi in again to Vince. Vince drives into the ground and then up into the hands of Fakhar Zaman, I think it is, there at cover. And again, there is no run. Well, I mean, if they'd lost Salt as well, they might as well probably go home. Got Ben Stokes to come, of course. He's quite decent.
It takes 2 men in an ODI to get you to do a decent score. Ideally, you get a decent start, but you can recover from ridiculously low starts to decent scores. It just takes a little bit of time and knocks off the top end of your runs, I reckon. But even if they lose another wicket here, they can still get 250, 260 in there.
And then it's a game defended by Vince. He's going to get a run this time because it needs Imam Haq to just move around to his left at backward point. So he will keep the strike. 5 overs have been bowled. It's a whole different ball game from Thursday. England are 22 for 2.
Warren was wanting us to start the hot mic stream. I can tell you, Warren, that we have done that. And he also says, Heidi hi all, Heidi hi to you. Mog says, I've almost lost interest. I'm not sure why. That might be something to do with hot mic. I'm waiting for it to have been started up. Warren's wishing Leah a happy birthday. To Wit to Woo says, why are you guys giving their wickets away cheaply? They do know the Euro final is tomorrow night.
Well, maybe they want to watch Wimbledon this afternoon. Ash Barty will be getting underway fairly shortly against Pliskova, so it could be something to do with that.
Warren thinks Phil Salt looks a little like the less handsome brother of Ben Foakes.
Oh my goodness me! Well, Ben Foakes is glorious. So even if you were the less handsome brother, you'd still be pretty gorgeous. Hassan Ali then over the wicket to Vince, who reaches for a wide swinging delivery, and rather than edging it to second slip, he puts it away beautifully through the covers for 4 runs.
There's not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
Now we all know Vince can play that shot.
Yes, we can. Yes, we do. Absolutely right. That one went down the hill towards the tavern. Absolutely wonderful. And to be honest, everyone wants to see James Vince succeed because he's such a gorgeous player to watch. Hassan Ali in again, into his legs this time. He's looking to turn it in the onside. It drops out there, but Hassan Ali is really rapid to get down there to stamp out any thoughts of a single. So England remain 26 for 2.
Rongo sent us a lovely picture. It's a blackboard outside, I presume, a pub. Every loaf of bread is a tragic story of a group of greens that could have become whiskey but didn't. I'm sure the Bear will sympathise with that thought.
Well, Tweet of the day.
I'll be back on it again tomorrow night, don't you worry. I'm going back to where I watched it on Wednesday.
Hassan Ali in again around about middle and leg, and Vince flicks it away with a little bit of bottom hand wrist, but straight to square leg. There is no run.
Does your mate know that, Bear, or are you just going to turn up and surprise him?
Oh no, he knows it. We've already organised it. And then I should be taking a week off from boozing.
Warren, by the way, says Alex Hales, Alex Hales, Alex Hales, Alex Hales. Yes. No, he won't be there. Not
well, there is that.
Owen Morgan's watch.
We've been sent a very nice article about Alex Hales, actually. Outside the off-stump, he almost drags it back onto his stumps. Oh, it could have been over before it's begun for James Vince, but he's going to get a couple of runs down to Shaheen Afridi at fine leg. And so England move rather awkwardly onto 28 for 2. There's never a dull moment with England, is there, really, in one-day cricket? It's all or nothing. And at the moment, it's a mixture of all or nothing. That's not missed the leg stump by very far indeed. Babar Azam was in the picture at mid-off. He couldn't believe it hadn't taken out the leg stump. So settle down, Vincey, settle down. Hassan Ali in again. He's in his 3rd over. He's got 1 for 16. And he bowls. He's onto the back foot. That's much more orthodox. Just with soft hands dropping it towards backward point where Imam comes into field. More, Tony.
Yes, Mr. Singh has managed to get is clearly following his football as well as cricket, but he still manages to get in an anti-India tweet in the process. This time in the Euro final, hope England will not become chokers like India. Huge expectations from England, he says. He also says Copa America, Argentina are going to win. They're playing Brazil, aren't they? That'll be some final.
That was last night, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? What was the score then?
I don't know. No idea. I think so, anyway. In comes Hassan. Oh, it's tonight, is it?
Yeah, I thought so.
Turned off the glove, really, by Vince, behind square on the onside, fielded by Mohammed Rizwan, the wicket keeper, and they take a single. Vince goes on to 8. At the end of the 6th over, England have advanced to 29 for 2. Okay, I thought it was last night.
Diane is Keith Lee. Diane, you will have to tell me how to pronounce your name. Otherwise, I'll just keep going, running through different options. It's predicting England 2, Italy 1. Fate has to be, she says. Mog wants to know, so he is still interested, thank goodness. Why is Crawley in this team? Tim Everingham says, evening gorillas, I'll probably be listening to you two throughout the night whilst I watch Ash Barty win Wimbledon, hopefully. I'm also having nothing to do tomorrow due to the lockdown in Sydney, thanks to a shit New South Wales Australian government. Thanks Gladys and ScoMo. That's what's his name, Scott, isn't it?
Afridi starts a new over to Vince. Vince pushes up to mid-on and judges that there is a single there if he runs quickly enough, and he does. He gets through for it. England move to 30 for 2. Fahim Ashraf is the man doing the fielding. I'm looking forward to seeing Harris Ralph again. The first time I'd really seen him the other day, and I love that little wobble he does in the middle of his run-up. It's great. I don't know. You need, along with the fluid and wonderful actions that you've got from someone like Saki Mahmood, you part of the joy of cricket is a Mark Wood, or well, he's quite smooth, but you need a Bumrah and a Harris Ralph, and awkward actions to enjoy as well. In comes Shaheen from the pavilion end, bowls to Salt, who defends one. Collector's item, he defends it back to the bowler, and there is no run. Now, I think this pitch is off to the... If you're looking from the pavilion, it's off to the right, isn't it? It's because if you look at the gate where they come out, the players, it's quite a long way over. So I don't know how far over. I mean, you see a lot of county games at Middlesex played on pitches so close to one side that it kind of annoys me a little bit. But I think this is a little bit over to the tavern side of things as well. In comes Shaheen Afridi, gives himself room and carves this through the covers, does Salt, and he's going to pick up 4 runs. Salt goes on to 23, and it was just a little bit of back of a length, but it wasn't giving him much width. He created the width by moving back towards square leg. It's quite a risky shot, to be honest, but he's got away with it, and it's thoroughly entertaining.
If the positioning of the wickets is the only thing that annoys you watching Middlesex at the moment, Hendo, you're a more patient man than I.
No, indeed, it's a difficult time for you, isn't it? It's some hard period in Middlesex's history at the moment. Shaheen in again, bowls down the leg side this time, and nicely flicked away. Much more orthodox shot by Salt. Is he going to try and hair back for the second? He is, in fact, doesn't have to hair. He just sort of tortoises it back to a certain extent, and the score moves on to 36 for 2. I do like it when people laugh at my pathetic jokes.
Well, someone has to, Hendo.
Yeah, well, actually, I miss Steve Busfield because he laughs at everything, and he's very good for the ego to have on with you. I found out some fascinating news in the cricket firmament this morning. I can't tell you it because it's embargoed for the time being. But
can you put it on a chat?
Fascinating news involving someone involved with Gorilla Cricket. Now this hits him on the pad. Big appeal from Shaheen Afridi, but I don't think he had serious hopes of that being given out.
Pitched outside leg, didn't it?
I think so. Oh yeah, and it was possibly a bit high. 36 for 2. 1 ball remaining in the 7th over. And I should say, of course, that we're going to be breaking more new ground on Gorilla Cricket, because we are going to have our first known COVID positive commentator later on this afternoon.
Oh, crikey.
I know. And I don't think any other broadcaster has done that knowingly.
Whilst they're COVID positive.
While they're COVID positive. Onto the front foot comes Staunton, defends up to a mid-off, and there is no run. 7 overs bowled, 36 for 2. Tony.
Grand Theft Auto says, last time I checked, Hale's 31 not out off 9 balls, which is worth considering as Salt and Vince give offside catching practice. Well, they're both still there, though. Dr. Dan has sent a picture of an impression of Phil Salt hitting his second 4 in the first over. So we'll retweet that, as is our wont. Who else do we have? Ruda An says, I can only ever read the score in his voice. I don't know who he's talking about, though. Who's he talking about? It's a response to somebody... Oh, Richie Benno, of course.
Oh, Richie Benno. Hassan Ali starts a new over, bowling to Vince. Vince drives well, but Hassan Ali is down, and although he doesn't take it cleanly, he deflects it to the man running in from mid-wicket, who is Saud Shakil, and there is no run. Pakistan won the toss this morning, put England into bat. Ben Stokes said England would have done exactly the same, as in put in Pakistan to bat, not themselves. Well, it's been a thoroughly entertaining first 53 balls. It really has. 36 for 2.
As indeed. Jersey Oak says, afternoon, we're doomed.
We are doomed, absolutely. Don't forget the GPL. Just tell us how doomed we are by entering the GPL. If you can go lower than 177 runs in the day, then you're either mad or, I don't know, very, very
brave.
Pessimistic. Reckless, pessimistic. One slip, ring of 4 on the offside for Hassan Ali as he tears in from the nursery end. Oh, it's very wide indeed and very short, and it's given as a wide. Even so, Vince was almost tempted into playing it. And it wasn't too far away from his outstretched cut. Wide.
Wide.
37 for 2. Sorry to bear.
That's all right. The jingle was finished, that's all. You were leaving a gap. I don't know if you hear... I'm never sure if you hear the jingles.
I want you to express yourselves. I leave you to have your moments. Hassan Ali in again, bowls. He aims a drive at that, but hits it to the ground, closes the face. All rather horrible. The ball runs back to the bowler. There is space. Enter the space, people.
Go on then, Bear.
Tony.
I'm got anything to say.
Bear. Whoever.
Jeff Perkins said,
oh, that's handy. I leave space and you haven't got anything to say.
Didn't a team of Colombian mercenaries assassinate everyone above Crawley that COVID hadn't already dealt with, or was that just a dream? No, I think, Jeff, you may have been sort of slightly cheese dream there.
Oh, well, that is glorious from James Vince. He takes a couple of steps down the wicket. It's by no means a half volley, but he's kept the left arm high. He's kept it going through the line. And he's put it away between mid-off and extra cover for 4 runs.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Well, we've probably got about another 4 of those before he nicks one off, eh?
Yes, absolutely. But that was, no, it's just, he teases you all the time, doesn't he? Because he's just so glorious to watch, and then he'll get out. But we live in hope. We live in hope. He moves on to 13 from 15. Hassan Ali is back in again. Bowls him a short one, and wow, he's pulled that really well down into the ground at square leg and all the way on the ground for 4 more.
The number of the day. Who could ask for more? The number of the day is 4.
Now, who was it that James Vince reminded of us in his early days? Was it Michael Vaughan?
Yeah.
There's something about the drive of Michael Vaughan. There's also something about the pull that Michael Vaughan used to play that used to be a wonderful thing to witness. And Vince has that similar kind of technique or similar ability. Hassan Ali in again, and he found the edge, but there is no third slip. It's a run down to third man in front of the pavilion. And he's going to come back for a second. He can get himself run out now, would you believe it? No, he's got there. Excellent running. England moved to 47 for 2. Tony.
Warren wants to know, is there a competition for guessing who the COVID positive commentator is?
Yes, let's do that.
My money's on Not Fred, who is also NSWF. I don't think in this case NSW meaning New South Wales. No. I think it probably means not safe for work.
What I can tell you is that the COVID positive commentator is not on until the 2nd innings. So that will give you no clues.
Right, so I'm going to have a look at the timings.
Yes, that's what I'm doing now.
Oh, you still won't know. Hassan Ali, that was a good ball actually, and he was a bit unlucky. Now Vince drops the next one down, looking for the single towards backward point, but Salt isn't interested. That's the end of the 8th over. England are 47 for 2. Tony.
Ravindra Kaul says, if England score 250, it will be hard for Pakistan to chase. Yeah, you may well have a point there. A few people now starting to gather on Cricket Tracker India, I'm delighted to say. Khalid Mahmood, Savingam Paravian, Tulesa Raman, and if I got that wrong, I apologise. Hariam Tamar, Wakas Ali, Ravasek Singh Thakur, Arif Nawaz, Hidyatullah, Shiva Shahari, Ashok Kumar Ashok, Zishan Qureshi MD Sajid, Arjun Sama, Mohit Kumar Rinku, Lone Samir, Kana Ragdav, and Icon Balu. Whoa. Welcome to all of you.
Well, we have our first change of bowling of the morning, and Shaheen Afridi is coming out of the attack after 4 overs, and he will be replaced by another bowler, and we'll give you his jingle after the first ball. He's right arm over the wicket of medium quick description, and he's whacked away. That's all you can say by Phil Salt. First ball through mid wicket, bit of a smear, but it's brought in 4 runs.
It's this man.
Jingling.
Look out, it's Fahim Ashraf. He's a superstar now, you'll never get him out now. I repeat, Fahim Ashraf.
Well, yeah, it wasn't that far away from the man at mid-wicket in the air, although that said, it went so fast it would have been a stunning catch had he managed to get a hand to it. Anyway, it's Fahim Ashraf, for he is the man coming in to bowl his second ball. He's got a 1 wide slip, and he brings this one back down the hill slightly with a little bit of cut as well. And although Salt is trying to force the ball, he can't really get the power into the shot that he wants, and it's back with the bowler. There is no run. England's 50 came up with that boundary, 51 for 2. We're 2 balls into the 9th over. We'll have a change at the end of the 10th, and Knackle will be taking over on ball by ball. And well, it could still end up being thoroughly entertaining afternoon's cricket as an hors d'oeuvre for those football fans out there. Looking forward to tomorrow night's fun and games. Fahim Ashraf in again, bowls to Salt, who watches a good length ball and defends it straight back to the bowler.
Very correct defence, wasn't it?
Yep, he's now obviously been stung by my words, and he's saying, look, I've got a forward defensive to match anybody's.
Well, you kind of feel now that they've faced a few, 27 balls, 18 balls, hopefully that eye's in. You kind of feel that they could stay there a little bit longer now, even though he's still...
Bear, you've just done it, haven't you?
Wow,
you've just done it.
Possibly.
You know what you've done.
I don't believe in these things.
Shame on you. Shame on you. Here comes Fahim. Let's see what happens. He bowls to Salt, and Salt crushes that through the offside. It was a cut almost off the front foot between extra and mid-off, and it's raced away to the boundary.
My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
I was going to say 9th 4 of the morning, but it's 9th 4 of the afternoon, because it's 1:15. You have until 2 o'clock to enter the GPL, the Gorilla Prediction League. How many runs will be scored in the day? The aggregate of both sides totals. That's what we're after. Go to gorillacricket.com. That's 1 R 2 L's. We spell it differently. We do everything differently. And go to competitions. In comes Fahim Ashraf.
Wow.
Outside the off-stump, he's got the ball to come back. He's got a horrible inside edge that by any right should have taken out the leg stump. He only played it in the end with one hand, but he has picked up a very, very lucky
and if
4
you
runs.
kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary, crossing a boundary.
That came in a long way.
It did, actually. It really did. And if you're playing on the up, you are really struggling in those circumstances. But Salt has got away with it. Maybe the luck is with him. He's had that early appeal. He's had that dropped catch at backward point. He's now moved on to 37 from 29. And it's the final ball of the 9th over. Fahim Ashraf in from the pavilion end. Bowls to him. Drives again. Straight this time. It's going to elude the dive of Shaheen Afridi at mid-on. And that is a 3rd consecutive boundary for the Sussex opener.
2 + 2 is on man.
That was actually a very nice shot.
Yeah, Fahim Ashraf is going to stand there and think, hang on, I've just got the ball to move in a couple of times by about a yard, and yet I've gone for 16 runs. What is going on? Cricket is a cruel mistress, as we know, and being particularly cruel to poor old Fahim at the moment. 63 for 2. Tony.
Godex Bunny is replying actually to Grand Theft Auto, saying, looks a bit chilly for such activities where I am, sadly. I think that's the idea. Plunge yourself into the chilly waters. Let's have a look on YouTube. Anthony Bush says, is this COVID plus commentator a sitting head of state, as they seem to get it for fun?
Well, he may be. He may be in the future.
It is a he.
It is a he.
Is that a
It
clue?
is a he. It is a clue. But he may well be a head of state in the future. I mean, he's a young, ambitious type.
That's already giving some clues.
Thrusting.
It's not
thrusting,
Matt
some
Hancock,
would
is
say.
it?
It's not Matt Hancock, no. Come back. We got another change of bowling. Harris Ralph with the incredible wobble mid run-up bowls his first ball to James Vince, and he's dispatched. It was short, it was rubbish, and he's put it away behind square leg for 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's this man bowling.
Harris Ralph's bowling.
Indeed, he is definitely, absolutely. 67 for 2. Here he comes. There's the wobble. There's the wobble. Onto the back foot goes Vince, and he defends to square cover. I wonder if we should have one of those quizzes where you should predict at what point, how many steps into his run does the wobble come. Let's see if we can count it. I'm really disappointed now. I'm going to have to go off air now because Harris Ralph is the kind of bowler that I look forward to being on when I'm commentating. He's got the ball in his hand again, and he's just having a little chat with Babar Azam. Now he's ready, coming into Vince, still keeping the slip, and he finds an outside edge. A little bit of movement there, but well controlled by Vince. He's going to get a single down to third man. Now hang on, the pitch is nearer the grandstand, isn't it? Rather than the tavern stand. So I was getting completely confused from my angles earlier on.
Sort of between steps 7 and 8, by the way.
Right, okay.
On wobble count.
Oh, a wobble count. Okay, yes. We're looking for the wobble. And I wonder if he wobbles at the wrong moment. Does he fall over?
Like a weeble?
Like a weeble.
Or is he like
Exactly,
a weeble? And
yeah.
They never fall over.
Straight up again.
They never did
wobble,
fall,
but they never fall over.
They
So
wobble but
basically,
don't fall down.
That's
he
right.
he will wobble. He will almost fall down, but get up and complete the ball. That's basically how Harris Ralph will bowl. He's going to be bowling for the first time to Phil Salt, who's moved into the 40s. Something has tickled Tony, which we're going to find out about in a minute. Outside the off-stump, aims a extravagant cut shot at that, but makes no contact. It's a swing and a miss. What's tickling Tony?
Oh, well, actually, I'm ashamed to say it was us, but I didn't know we.
Really? What did we do?
Yeah, well, apparently I'm assuming maybe it was Knuckle. I don't know. Someone tweeted. Harris Ralph appears to pause mid-run up as if to elbow an imaginary assailant in the face.
That's a very good description.
Which
I
is
like
kind
that.
of about right. Yeah.
That is pretty damn good. Anyway, he has 2 balls remaining of his over, and he's in. He bowls Salt, and that one climbs on him quite remarkably. He was completely and utterly done by that, and he has no option but to nod his appreciation of that delivery, and appreciation also that it didn't get him out. It was a cracker. It was a bit of back of a length, but it really flew, and he wasn't trying to do anything attacking with that. All he could do was present the face of the bat, but it went past the outside edge.
Now, Phil Salt, he reminds me a little bit of Jordan Henderson under that helmet, actually.
Oh, does he? Well, we've got Jordan Henderson, Matt Pryor, and a slightly less gorgeous Ben Folkes. So quite a lot of different. He's wobbled, he's wobbled, and he's wobbled out of the run-up. Oh, I'm so glad he did it before I went off air. Final ball of my stint. Ralph as well and
he lost his run-up.
Well, the assailant has got to him and has put him off. He's unable to deliver that ball, but that does mean we're going to see the run-up again. Here he goes. We're getting 7 balls for the price of 6 almost in this over. He's in again outside the off-stump, crunched through the offside by Phil Salt. Stand and deliver. 4 more runs. England move into the 70s. There's 72 for 2 at the end of the 10 overs of power play. Remember, it's a 47 over a side game, and the next voice after Tony's that you will hear will be none other Battle Mpandi.
I think we are largely up to date on most communication platforms, Hendo. I'm just checking YouTube.
I don't know why you're
Oliver
Hendo.
Hurd. Oh, well, could he? Harris Ralph backwards is Ralph Harris, yes, said Oliver Hurd. We were aware of that. Maybe he should go. Can you guess what it is yet when he's bowling? Anyway, I'm done.
Thank you on that. Good luck segueing from that. Great start from England, you have to say, in the circumstances. 72 for 2, having been put into bat. Phil Salt picked to be an aggressive player and is going to bat in that manner. He's 45 off 33. A little bit of luck, but some thumping and fearful shots that make you wince when they come off the bat. And James Vince is doing James Vincey things. He's 24 of 21, facing up now to Fahim Ashraf. Still a slip in place. This one comes back in from Fahim down the slope from the pavilion end. Mohammad Rizwan has to slide and is nearly never seen again as he flies down the hill. But they come through for a single. I am Knuckle Mpande, taking you through the next 10 overs, and I'm joined by, from Melbourne, Ian Forth.
Hello.
Hello. We can't really hear you properly. And from Epping cum Thaden.
Hello.
Hello. From Epping cum Thaden boys, Sean Nestle Boy Tracy.
Hello. From Epping cum Thaden boys.
Yep. Fahim Ashraf now bowling to his Islamabad United teammate Phil Salt. They know each other reasonably well. Fahim is in. Slower ball outside off stump. Salt thinks about driving but pushes to point and then thrusts the bat at James Vince as if to say, don't you dare run. There is no run.
Salt's been fun, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Well, he's, as I say, he's an aggressive player. He's got a good eye, hits the ball hard, likes to drive on the up. He's been picked for that reason. He knows why that is. He knows that. He knows this is how England like to play, and it's how they've become the best one-day team in the world. And he's batting in that manner. Maybe a little bit aggressive, over anxious, given it's only his second ODI, but he's growing into this innings. This is a slower ball, which he waits for and just guides down to deep third off the outer part of the bat for a single. And Ian, Pakistan, there's seam movement. There's seam movement all over the place, but Pakistan look a little bit rattled and have gone slightly more defensive than they might have liked.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you get put under pressure, isn't it? I did think that Phil Salt was a bit of a hiding for nothing because he's coming in replacing two masters, Bairstow and Roy, in sort of pinch hitting. But after a very skitty start, he's done very well.
As Fahim is into Vince. Wide half volley. James Vince is not going to be asked twice to have a drive, but they've put the deep cover out there, Fakhar Zaman, and it's just a single. Yeah, I think Roy and Bairstow are probably a pinch hitter. I think is slightly underplaying what they've done in one-day international cricket.
That's true.
Aggressive opening batting.
Yes. That's a phrase you don't hear as much as you once did. I suppose Jay Soraya was...
No, Ramesh Kalawitharana averaging 19 but scoring it over a run a ball or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's true. I have to say, you're on a bit of a hiding to nothing because you've got to come and emulate those two, so you can't hang around.
Salt is in. Fahim again taking the pace off the ball and Salt waiting for it and pushing to backward point. There is no run. I think Fahim has...
Have you seen much of Phil Salt, Knuckle?
Bits and pieces, a little bit in the PSL, a little bit for Sussex. Not a huge amount. I've been following his numbers and so forth. He is this kind of player. This is the kind of player he is. He's an aggressive player. Loves to drive on the up. Loves to he pulls and cuts almost off the front foot, and he's can be quite intimidating to bowl at. We'll give you a chance, and he gives you a chance there. He has another big drive at it, which at a delivery which comes off the inside edge. This one through his own legs. He's not sure where the ball has gone. There is no run. Better over that from Fahim. Just 3 runs off the over. Relative normality for Pakistan. England, though, are going well at 75 for 2 off 11.
Warren has joined us and says, can only hope the COVID plus V commentator is either Blojo or Drump, and this go around has a different outcome. Well, I can confirm that it isn't Donald Trump and it isn't Johnson.
No, it is not somebody who is currently in charge of a country.
Well, they might do one day.
Yes, we have ScoMo in charge of our country. And I agree with you, Nestus.
Harish Ralph continuing from the nursery, and this one keeps low and goes under the bat of James Vince and dies through to Mohammad Rizwan, who has a grimace and a laugh at it. James Vince does his best to not look bothered, and there is no run.
No, I don't think it's right to give these people affectionate nicknames.
That's a stage name.
Yes, it is rather, isn't it?
Bloody wanker.
Words to that effect.
James Vince facing up to Harish Ralph with that wobble in his run-up, that upper body wobble. Vince runs this down to deep third, who has to come in right to the edge of the circle, and they come through to Rizwan, who's not particularly happy with Fahim there that he allowed the 2 runs. Haris Ralph looks like his arms kind of go out, and he looks like he is stopping mid run up to elbow an imaginary assailant in the face.
Yes. It's a good description.
Shortish run up for a fast bowler, 15 yards or so in he is. Yes, there go the arms wobbling. This is short and wide and crashed by Vince. Saud Shakil is out there at deep cover, but that was too square of him, and as soon as Haris Ralph has dropped short, Vincent Salt have been very severe on him. 4 runs.
Give it to me 1 time. Give it to me 2 times. Give it to me 3 times. Give it to me 4 times.
Fair to say that Haris Ralph hasn't really settled yet. It's 3 long hops in his first 9 balls, and they've all been thumped away to the fence. This one will need to be better. It is better, a good delivery which angles in to Vince. Up the hill this time. Still some seam movement out there. Inside edge onto the pad, and there is no run.
There was a Pakistani bowler from many years ago who literally went 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. I want to say Abid Ali. I don't think that's right, but do you remember him?
No.
Quite a long time ago now, maybe in the 70s.
No, I mean there was an Indian all-rounder called Syed Abid Ali around that time, who was a very much a sort of medium-paced dobber. Haris Ralph is in, just kind of running his fingers across this. It still comes out at 88 miles an hour, so just a bit of a sling, and Vince cuts Fahim Ashraf doing the fielding on the slide out there at deep third. Vince moves to 2, and James Vince is 34 off 28 and hasn't really the odd inside edge, but hasn't really looked troubled so far.
No, he hasn't. It's hard to think of a batsman with a sort of bigger mismatch between his aesthetic qualities and his statistics. He really ought to be creaming 100s every time he gets to his crease, but it never happens.
He's one of those players who's probably too good for domestic cricket, that hasn't ever established himself in any international format. He did well in the last Ashes series, actually, down under. Haris Ralph doing some sort of stepping on the spot routine as he starts his run up. Vince has a flick at this, but the slip is not in place with the aggressive intent, and it goes off the outside edge down to deep third. Fahim doing a lot of fielding in that over. And it's again not a great over from Haris Ralph. What is that? 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 runs off the over from Haris Ralph. He's gone for 17 off his first 2. England charging along at 84 for 2 off 12.
Now you're going to like this. Jeff G. Thomas on YouTube says Salt is shaking things up, peppering the ball round Lords like a seasoned pro. I think that's enough punditry there for
very good.
For Tony Bishop to be licking his lips over.
Oh goodness me, will it ever end?
No.
Shaheen Shah Afridi has Fahim Ashraf's cap tucked into the back of his trousers. No one going to cap. Fahim Ashraf looks like he's holding this cross seam to try and just get this one to. Oh no! Now he's shifted it to down the seam. This one comes in quite a long way off the seam up the hill, and Vince plays uncertainly from the crease into the offside. There is no run. These sort of cuttery things from Fahim Ashraf are working quite well thus far.
They are, yes. He's, I guess he should be reasonably established by now in the team. Ashraf, I mean, he's made 27 ODIs, so he's.
Yeah, he's fairly solid in there at the 7 or 8 positions, bowling all rounder, taking the pace off.
His batting average isn't great.
No. He's probably a better batter than that suggests, but he does bat low down the order. Can give it a thump.
Fair enough.
Decent number 8 or number 7 as Vince takes a walk down the track, and does he hold out to deep square leg? No, I think it bounced before him and then went through him. He came down the track expecting this to be a sort of length delivery, and he thumped it away. He didn't time it that well, and it bounced just before Saud Shakil at deep square leg and then went through him for 4 runs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slightly off the top edge from Vince, and it bounced a long way before him. Salve doing the right thing, going for the catch, but not managing to back it up. Semi-moral victory, a moral draw for Fahim Ashraf.
Yeah, he's come in 10 yards off the rope there, specifically for that shot.
This is a short ball which does rise on Vince, and he's got it away for 4 this time off the top edge, flying over the keeper's head. Another slightly lucky 4 for James Vince.
I've got an answer for you, Ian, for your Pakistani bowler.
Yeah.
Asif Masood.
That's him. Got it. Well done. Very good. He was very distinctive. Once seen, never forgotten.
That was from Mark Spooner. Well done, Spoons.
Well done.
That's a decent short ball from Fahim Ashraf, getting it up above Vince's shoulder. The next one is outside off stump, and Vince caresses it past backward point. Fakhar Zaman, the offside sweeper, comes round and they come through 4-2. So Vince has been taking pretty much all of the strike in the last few overs, but he's on to 45 off 33. Phil Salt is 46 off 37, and England, after losing a couple of early wickets with both Darwin Milan and Zach Crawley going for ducks, the former caught at second slip by Hassan Ali and the first bowl by a brilliant Yorker from Shaheen, first ball, are going well at 92-94 now. 4-2. Fahim is in to Jimmy Vince, who runs this down into the offside. Imam comes around from backward point, and there is.
I guess what we're seeing is the continuity of Owen Morgan's policy. So when a new players come in, there's no doubt in their minds about what the strategy is. So they're given license, I guess, to play this way under the knowledge that there'll be no criticism if they're out early.
Well, indeed, and it's the method that's gone through domestic cricket, through T20 cricket, and through List A cricket. Although there hasn't been a List A tournament for a couple of years, and it's also how they play when guys like Salt and Vince play in the Big Bash and the PSL and other such leagues. Phil Salt waits for this and drives it out for a single to Fakhar at deep cover. They come through for that pretty comfortably, and that I make that 12 runs off the over. England 96 for 2 after 13.
Warren is suggesting that Vince is toying with the bookies and the punters, and Satan by name only just joined the chat. Nice to see us batting first. Maybe most will get a knock. Well, these two are hogging the limelight at the moment.
Yep, the rest of the batting order. Ben Stokes, the captain, his second one-day international as captain, his 100th for England, and then it's John Simpson, the wicket-keeper, Lewis Gregory, the hard-hitting all-rounder, Craig Overton can bat a bit, so can Bryden Carse, and then the bowlers Saqib Mahmood and Matt Parkinson. Haris Ralph in again. Phil Salt pushes down to short third and wants the single, but is sent back by Vince and has to scurry back into his crease. Imam gets the throw away quickly, but Salt was back in his ground fairly comfortably. There is no run.
And Stokes' 100th ODI. I had a quick look on how many other English players have got 100 ODIs. I was rather surprised by the number. It's 24. Well, I was surprised.
High or low, do you think?
Well, high. I thought high.
Yeah.
As Haris Ralph is in. A big drive from Phil Salt, and I'm not sure if he got an edge on that. It might have just swung past the toe end of the bat as Salt had a big drive on the up. It died through to Rizwan, despite Ralph bowling in the high 80s miles an hour, and there is no run. I do get the sense, Nestlers, that, and Ben Stokes has kind of said this, he wants these guys who weren't expecting to play, and some of whom may not have met until a few days ago, to express themselves and to have some fun and not die wondering.
Yes, if that is what he said, that's typical of Stokes, I think, and also a good thing.
An edge that flies through where a second slip would have been maybe even a first, and Phil Salt brings up his first international 50 with a lucky edge through slip, but it's been a very entertaining innings by the Welshman raised in Barbados, now plays for Sussex. 51 off 41 balls with now 10 fours.
1, 2, 3, 4.
50 runs, your 50 runs. Well done, well done, well done, well done. 50 runs, your 50
runs. The job is only just begun.
England bring their 100 up with that edge through where the slip would have been, but they've earned the right not to have any slips with this aggressive and all-action start. He punches his next delivery out to backward point on the fence and comes through for a single. Just his fourth List A 50-plus score, has only won 100. Lots of fast 30s in there for Phil Salt. He'll have calmer innings, but he's got a very clear method and he backs himself as Ralph comes into James Vince 4 away from his own 50, knocks this into the onside. There is no run.
Going back to that comment you made about what Stokes told them. Of course, what that does is, goes some way taking away the nerves from the debutants. Instead of going, "Oh, this is England, we do things this way." Go out and play your game. That's what I want to do.
Although,
and if you get out, you get out.
Yeah, if you get out doing the thing that we've asked you to do, and the reason that you've been on the fringes of the team to get picked, we're not going to criticise you for doing the thing we wanted you to do, which is how England have been running themselves for a while. That's quite right. A flash from Vince in the air, but there was a gap there, and he goes to 50 in the same over as Phil Salt, faster than Phil Salt actually. 50 off 36 balls for the Hantsman, born in Sussex, but has been a stalwart of Hampshire for quite a long time. That is his only his second one-day international 50, and it's come off 36 balls with 8 fours.
50 runs, your 50 runs. Well done, well done, well done, well done. 50 runs, your 50 runs. The job is only just begun.
England 105 for 2, having been put in under gloomy skies with the ball moving and a good attack after 14 overs. And this emergency squad in this series couldn't really be having much better of a time of it as with that thumping win at Cardiff, and now this all-action fun-time start. Nesthers.
Yeah, they're enjoying themselves. Good to see. And Jack Scousas says, "Hi all, just watching 3 simultaneous sports streams and writing a spreadsheet tonight." Wait, James Vince said was to score more than 30 in an innings. Angelic, I assume you've got the Tour de France on, maybe the tennis as well, probably, and the cricket. Grand Theft Auto asked, could Salt have played for the West Indies then?
He moved back when he was fairly young. His family moved to Barbados when he was 7, then I think he moved back when he was 16.
Well, he could have done, probably qualified.
Yeah, I mean, he would have had to live there for longer. Yeah, I mean, he's been back in England for quite a while. Told the story in the first ODI, but it's always worth repeating. When he was in Barbados, in Bridgetown, he went into a curry house to pick up their takeaway order, met Garfield Sobers, and was so flustered by meeting and talking to Garfield Sobers that he accidentally picked up the great man's takeaway order.
Oh dear. Well, one thing what we could say is this is one of those occasions when both batsmen have scored their best ever innings for England, and that doesn't happen very often. Vince's previous top score was 51.
Yeah, it could be. He's on 50 off 36. Phil Salt 52 off 42 at Drinks. England 105 for 2, having been put into bat, and it's been a great deal of fun after Dawood Malan was caught by Shadab off Hassan Ali. A good delivery and a good low catch for a duck off 6 balls, and Zach Crawley gone first ball to an absolute beauty of a Yorker from Shaheen Shah Afridi. But Phil Salt not in complete control, and James Vince looking pretty elegant as ever, have flayed this Pakistan attack around and have got them looking a little bit rattled, and I think there might be some talking to at Drinks. 105 for 2 after 14, going at 7.5 and over.
It's the finest half century I've seen by a Welsh West Indian playing for England for some time.
Yes, with dyed blonde hair.
Well, always
you
with
can
that caveat.
You can add that, you know. Yeah, that's it's been good to see. I mean, it's quite funny. It's like 50 to 50.
Yeah, Phil Salt was the only one who missed out in the very perfunctory chase the other day, and this time Milan and Crawley have missed out, but Salt and Milan haven't. We've had a change of bowling with Fahim Ashraf has actually been looking reasonably good in the last couple of overs, but he's gone for 31 off his 3, and so it's leg spin at the nursery end, and said leg spinner starts with one tossed up outside off stump, driven back to him by Philip Dean Salt off the bowling of the Pakistan one-day international vice-captain, who will jingle up after his second ball. 5 men in the ring at backward point, short third really, backward point, cover, mid-wicket and short fine leg, which means there's a cover sweeper who does the fielding out there, and Salt comes through for a single off this man.
What's the matter, you? Show a little respect. The leg is spinning his harder, but he turns it off at the deck. Oh, he's not too bad. He's always got a plan. Shadab Khan.
Googly from Shadab, which Vince doesn't really know what to do with, and just pokes at it and it dribbles into the offside. There is no run. Shadab been a little bit out of form recently. Hasn't taken as many wickets as he would have liked. In fact, he hasn't taken a wicket for... in fact, there was an edge there off that delivery.
Yeah,
which hit Mohammed Rizwan on the knee. Pretty difficult catch with the googly. He was going down leg. Not really a catching chance, but a nick decidedly from Vince. He pushes this into the offside. Barber does well fielding at backward point. There is no run. Yeah, we've had a very tough chance dropped. Salt saved himself on an LBW review. We've had some chances in the air. It's not been chanceless by any means, but they put away the bad ball. Vince fails to do that on this occasion, hitting Barber again at backward point. No run. You know what? I'm thinking strap in. It's going to be fun along for the ride.
100%.
You have 50 minutes to enter the GPL. Get him in. Go higher than I think you've gone so far, to be honest, as Vince drives this pleasantly down to long off. Shaheen fields easy single.
Social dismissals?
Not at the moment. It's an England assault, says Satan by name.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. If only Mustard was at the other end. My goodness, we'd be having some fun there.
Graham Onions, Michael Pepper. We've done this before.
Yes, of course.
15 overs gone. England 107 fought 2 when Pakistan are annoyed with the ball.
A condiment 11.
Yeah. It's a good challenge.
Is there anyone playing called salad dressing? No, I don't think so.
Hellman somewhere. There's probably a Hell.
Oh God, yeah, there probably is.
It's going to be spin at both ends. Saad Shakil bowled a little bit in the last game. Had the ignominy of conceding the winning runs, although it certainly wasn't his fault. Slow left armour from the pavilion end, and he's into the attack. Barber going rather on the defensive with the 2 spinners.
Well, let me tell you about the way he hooked, the way he bowled, and the slowness of the ball. He wasn't spinning much, he seemed in quite good touch. He's such a key.
Didn't look entirely comfortable against Shadab last over. This one turning away from him as well. Rizwan has a semi-appeal as Shakil beats Vince on the outside edge. A really indeterminate stroke from James Vince. Didn't really do much with it other than fiddle at it through to the keeper. There is no run. The slower bowlers seem to be getting more out of this pitch, which looks pretty good when you bowl at good pace. Vince chips this in the air. No danger of being out. Hassan Ali was back on the boundary at long off, but it's another odd way of getting a single. But
it's like a little gap wedge just off the green.
Yeah,
that's right.
Just popped it up in the air.
Up in the air, spun back near the hole.
Leave yourself
a little nervous.
Leave yourself a 6-footer. Salt facing up to Saad Shakil has a flash at this, and it comes off the outside edge and dies well before Fahim Ashraf on the edge of the circle at short third. There is no run. Just need to.
Yeah, I think they should be treating him with a little bit more respect. So they've got their eye in against.
Well, I mean, they've left the mid-off up on purpose. Saad Shakil and Babar Azam, even though Shakil is turning the ball away from the bat, the left-arm spinner. He bowls a fair bit in List A and T20 cricket, but it's very much a batting all-rounder. This one is pushed back to him. There is no run, but a tidy-looking left-arm spinner. Short run-up, 4 or 5 paces. starting from past the umpire, and he's in. Down the track comes Salt, and he's hit that beautifully up over extra cover, but well fielded by Hassan Ali, who is very athletic, getting round to his left to field, stopping the ball, rolling over the sponge, and then boinging himself, there is no other word, back into the field of play to pick the ball up. Hassan Ali is all energy, and it's great fun, great value for money, and that's 2 runs to Phil Salt. In the end, Hassan did pretty well coming round from long off. Here we go. There we go. He's over there. Boing. Just imagine that in your head with the Super Mario jump noise.
That's good to see.
Very good. Hassan Ali is having fun out there. The man who has a pendant with a silhouette of his own wicket celebration on it. As Shaquille is in to finish his first over, which is driven back to him. There is no run. A measure of control enacted by Shadab Khan and Saud Shakil. Just 5 runs off the last 2 overs. And breathe, England. 110 for 2 of 16.
Mark Spooner, Ian, has put a little bit clip, a YouTube clip of your bowler.
Oh, brilliant! I look forward to seeing that.
So there you go. Jeff Perkins says Knackle dropping early hints about the final score. Phil Salt is an assailant of the bowling.
Very good.
Stop now.
Hang on. Did he spell my name NaCl by any chance?
No.
Because sodium chloride.
Oh, I see. How clever. Yes.
Tossed up by Shadab. Vince has a drive and just takes the single down to long off. There are 5 or 6 singles on over off the spinners if you want them at this stage. England 111 for 2. Somewhere David Shepherd is doing a dance.
I once had friends who tell this story after this ball.
Shadab in. Salt winds up and thumps it, or tries to thump it down the ground. Well fielded by Shadab off his own bowling, and there is no run. His Shadab, his PSL captain. Shadab captains Islamabad United, who Phil Salt's had a couple of decent seasons for. He comes down the track and drives this, doesn't time it, and takes the single down to Shaheen, who's doing all the fielding of Shadab Khan. There is
Has he got a defensive shot?
Easy single. Oh, he's played a couple. Sort of.
Has he?
Yeah. Some
driven them back to the bowler or something.
Pretty much. Kind of like Ben Stokes. His 4 defensives are drives that happen to hit the fielder. Tossed up. Vince goes inside out trying to beat Shaheen, but doesn't. Shaheen takes 1 giant step to his left and fields. Easy single. Vince happy to chip over the infield, which is fine.
Well,
Sultan Shakem, says Satan by name. Crisp shot.
I almost hope he doesn't have a long career, because this is going to become rather tedious after a while. Short and swiveled pulled by Phil Salt. And they'll come through for 2. Fakhar Zaman doing the fielding out there at deep mid-wicket. Pakistan just cannot stop England scoring.
No.
Right. Do you remember Sultan Lineker crisps?
Yes.
98 World Cup. Cheese and Owen.
Cheese and Owen, that's right.
Last ball of Shadab's over. Salt thinks about coming down the track, but just waits for it and slaps it out to Sahib Maqsood at deep cover, and they come through for a single. More confident off the spinners in that over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runs off the over. Phil Salt is on 59. James Vince is on 54. Both at better than a run a ball. England 116 for 2 off 17.
Warren joins in. Oh, the days of the opening bowling partnership of Branston and Pickle.
Did that ever happen?
I don't think
Maybe
so.
it did.
What did that ever happen? Come on.
That could have done. It's possible.
There's South Shakil in. There's a little sort of crouch as he starts his action and then comes into the action. Sort of like a very slow motion version of Ravindra Jadeja. Vince again happy to come down the track and drive. And in fact, Salt, sorry, that was coming down the track and driving down to long off. Easy single. This is James Vince's highest one-day international score for England, reaching 51. He cuts this out to deep point. Fakhar Zaman, deep cover rather. Fakhar, the designated boundary rider, out there on the tavern stand. And Shaquille bowling from the nursery end towards Phil Salt. He's in again. Walks across his stump and he's bowled round his legs. Phil Salt trying to, I think, beat the man at short fine with the paddle sweep from outside off stump, but he went too far across and is bowled round his legs. Saud Shakil has his first international wicket. Phil Salt's very entertaining innings is gone. He's 60 off 54 balls. England after 17 and a half overs, 118 for 3.
Go OUT the window, go OUT the window, go OUT the window, 'cause OUT spells out.
It was a great deal of fun watching Phil
Yeah.
Salt.
It was. I think the ball was far fuller than he thought it was going to be, and that's what got him into difficulties.
Yeah, fuller and just a little bit of drift. It wasn't really there for the shot he was trying to play, and he walked across his stumps. But credit to Saud Shakil for keeping the ball full and straight, and he's potentially made a reasonably important breakthrough for his first international wicket.
I just
Yeah, the
watched.
funny thing is that go.
I was just going to say I just watched Mark Spooner's little video clip of the Masood, who did a little kind of sideways kind of skip before he ran in.
Yes.
Yeah, it's quite entertaining. It's on there. I've retweeted it. It's on the Gorilla Cricket Twitter feed. If you all want to have a look, it's well worth it. 6 minutes 10 seconds. If you go to on the video clip, well worth a look.
Yeah, there's all these guys out there on YouTube like Rob Moody and I think it's Pranak Sinha. I forget his full name, but he's very good at subcontinental clips. Those guys showing old cricket. It's a great deal of fun. Anyway, out into the middle at Lord's for the first time in a one-day international since that World Cup final in 2019. Captaining England in his 100th one-day international.
Ben? Ben Stokes.
Called back in early to captain this team. He has answered his call. Henry V, Cry Harry, etc., etc. He blocked his first ball back to Saud Shakil, turning the ball into the hitting arc of the left-hander. He punches this down the ground for a single, bringing Vince back on to strike.
You sounded worryingly like Johnson then, Knackle. Henry V, Churchill.
It's probably a bit more Henry VII who came from abroad to win at Bosworth Field, maybe.
Yeah, sure. Same part of the world as Phil Salt up in Wales.
Yeah, that's very true.
Tossed up, driven, well fielded by Imam Ul Haq, who gets a hug from Shadab Khan for doing that good but fairly simple bit of fielding, diving to his right. And Saud Shakil has done the business. A wicket and 3 runs off his over, his third full over in international cricket. He's 1 for 6 off his 2. Pakistan have slightly put the brakes on at 119 for 3 are England after 18.
Warren says Salt's proper kosher, and then Steve Kellett says stop the puns, stop them right now. You'll summon Zaltzman at this rate, and none of us want that.
I think we all do. I think that he's rather busy these days.
Yes, we've sent him off to other things.
I think the funny thing is this wicket is actually quite challenging.
As Shadab is in slip in place for Ben Stokes. This one goes on with the arm and he blocks back to the bowler. There is no run. It's a curious.
Well, I think some of the balls we saw from the faster men earlier seem to indicate a two-pace track.
Reverse sweep from Ben Stokes, plays that shot well and he gets it past the dive of the man at short third. Ben Stokes picks up his first boundary of the day.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
To be honest, I think it's a pretty good pitch. You can get a little bit out of it with the slower balls, but it's coming onto the bat nicely. The outfield's quick. Certainly it's a better pitch than we've seen at Lord's in some one-day internationals recently, notably the latter stages of that World Cup where it was fairly slow. But this pitch looks pretty good. A googly from Shadab, a bit too short. Stokes cuts to back the man at cover, and there is no run.
It's a very healthy run rate, 6.65 in the 19th over.
Yeah, even though it's just strayed a little bit. Shadab is in, tossing this up, but driven inside out by Stokes. Can't beat Saud Shakil, who's on a bit of a high after taking his first international wicket. At cover, there is no run.
Steady his nerves, which is good for him.
Penultimate ball of the over. This time driven slightly open in the face from Ben Stokes, and he's placed that very nicely to the left hand of Shakil and to the to the right hand of Shakil and to the left of Fakhar Zaman out there, and he's managed to come through for 2 between the man up in the ring at cover and the deep cover point fielder. Moves to 7 off 7, 1 ball left in the 19th. Slip, backward point, deep cover point, mid off, mid on, up in the circle. Mid wicket up in the circle on the leg side, and everyone else back on the leg. And so Ben Stokes just turns this straight delivery out to short fine, or where short fine would have been. Comes through for the single. So that is 6 runs off that over England after 19, 125 for 3.
Well, we've gone. We're up to date on across all platforms of our social media apps, etc. So we're going to have to talk to each other. That's worrying.
Must admit, I'm feeling a bit groggy with sports overload right now. I have to get up for a 5 a.m. kickoff twice in the last few days.
What the Euros?
Yes, indeed. And then, of course, stretching into the evening this evening, so my sleep patterns all over the place.
So Shakil continuing, if this one to skid on up the hill from the nursery end. Stokes blocks back to the bowler. There is no run. Ben Stokes rocking a full ginger beard, looking, if we're continuing the Henrys, looking rather more like Henry VIII. As this one again comes on with the arm, and he blocks with that broad defensive bat back to the bowler. There is no run.
Big day for Italian sport tomorrow.
Oh, of course.
Euro finals and Wimbledon.
Berrettini as Shakil is in. That's a poor delivery short, and Ben Stokes has absolutely climbed into that and sent it flying into the second tier of the tavern stand. Huge 6.
Just before he hit that, Satan by name messages, good to see Stokes batting again, hopefully a few 6s on the way.
Well, that was an absolute monster over the leg side. Wasn't a good delivery from South Shakil, dropped it short and gave Stokes an age to go back and thump it over the mid-wicket region.
Yeah, beautiful
If it's possible to look good before you get to 10, he's looking, well, he's got to 14 now, he's looking in really good nick.
Well, considering he's had a bit of a stop-start time of it recently, hasn't he?
Yeah, broke his finger taking a low catch in the first game of the IPL, then had surgery and had to miss the rest of that tournament. Come back in for Durham, and now wasn't expecting to play, but got called up at the last minute when the COVID positive tests in the England original one-day international squad were revealed. But he's answered the call and has come in with this group of players who are playing with freedom. He clips this delivery down to long on for a single.
I think the comparison to Henry VIII is fairly superficial. I'm just reading J.K. Rowling's 3rd book in the Henry VIII trilogy at the minute.
J.K. Rowling?
Do I mean that? No, I don't.
Hilary Mantel, surely.
I mean, Hilary Mantel.
Very, very different.
I told you my sleep patterns are all over the place.
Very, very different authors. Sorry, just hold on.
No, absolutely.
Vince pushes 100%. A single down the ground too long off, moves to 56, looking rather less pyrotechnic than Ben Stokes, who's got that angry face. He's now then, Mardy Bum, you've got that face on, or whatever. You rather abridge those lyrics. This is pushed back to the bowler, and there is no run. Well fielded off his own bowling by Saud Shakil. More expensive over that time, and England, after 20 overs, 20 breathless overs, are 134 for 3. I'm staying here and doing some summarising. Messi Jazz will be reading your socials, and Tony the Bishop will be doing your bull.
I will indeed. Thank you, Knuckle. 134 for 3. It's not been dull, has it? Crikey, Moses.
Well, we must be due for the boring middle overs then.
I notice I've been slated for those, yes. We'll see if we can't bring them to life a bit. Enthusiastic crowd at Lord's, probably a bit frustrated that start had been delayed. Shadab Khan was about to continue, but James Vince, who's already doubled what we'd expected him to get with his 56, stepped back, so clearly something was distracting him. But, he's ready now, the right-handed Vince, and it's full, and it's a bit inside edgy, and tickled to mid-wicket. Yes, all the way from Perth, reading your tweets, none other than the mighty Messers, the grandfather of social media. As that one takes a bit of pad, but he was well outside of off stump. Bit of pad and bat for Vince. Shadab's making Vince think here.
Yeah, he's not looked quite as comfortable off the spinners. James Vince. He is a good player of spin, but it is just making him
again
think.
And cut and missed and nearly bottom edged. And Shadab Khan, big old smile on his face. Did very well in the World Cup here, did Shadab Khan. 3 for 50 against South Africa. 2 for 59 against Bangladesh, both of course of which Pakistan won. So they like Lords. In more recent history, certainly World Cup history, this is pushed, but again pushed to cover, and again no run.
Yeah, I think this pitch is a bit quicker than those pitches. And England have a relatively poor one-day international record at Lords. It does move around off the seam more than it does at other venues in England.
And he's bowled him. Vince stepped back. That one just shot through. It went on with the arm, and I'm afraid Vince will stop at that 56. Frustration for him, frustration for England, joy for Pakistan and their vice captain Shadab Khan.
Yeah, he's been bowling quick and straight at him, trying not to let him free the arms. Just skidded on a little bit down the hill from the pavilion end. Vince trying to cut and not really getting into much of a position, but a good knock from James Vince, his highest one-day international score thus far, 56 off 52 balls with 8 fours in there, not all of them completely off the middle of the bat, but looked very pleasant.
Well, do we get to? We should see Simo next, shouldn't we?
Should be, yes.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, indeed, on a ground he knows extremely well. That is, by the way, Shadab Khan's first one-day international wicket since 2019.
Good grief, was it really? I mean, that was probably in the World Cup then, was it?
No, just after. Admittedly, he didn't play any ODIs in 2020 because of injury and COVID, but still, it's his first in 5 innings.
He's been wrestling with a groin problem, hasn't he, for 18 months or so?
Yeah, he's not been in great form or fitness for the last little while, but obviously a very good player and an important part of this Pakistan team with bat and ball.
Sorry, I was just laughing at a tweet. Of course, Nestle's provoked a response by saying we were up to date on social platforms, to which Mog says up to date my arse, and Adrian Lowe says up to date on the socials, not now. Hello, chimps, keep up the good work. Mog says, can we pause a moment to mock the Australian T20 team that lost this morning? I was just thinking how restrained you had been in not mocking Australia for a really pathetic batting performance this morning in the T20.
Well, first ball in international cricket for this man, and jumps on him a little bit for Simo. Shadab Khan throws his arms up, and Simo had a little prod, non-effectively, so he's yet to lay a bat on ball in international cricket, although he has of course played for the Lions and I think England under 19s.
Yeah, I mean it was a while ago now. He's 32 that he played for the under 19s. Yes, unaccustomed as he is to coming out with his team in a good position, John Simpson.
Yeah, certainly recently. Yeah. Messers. Who have we got?
Okay.
Oh, sorry, we interrupted Simo's.
We done?
Debut jingle. That's a shame.
It's done.
O'Neill Harris says, great coverage, Gorillas. Thank you. Thanks for the good work. Let's hope for a competitive game. It's looking interesting. Mog, in relation to the history of Henry VIII, says, one of those authors is a talented, nuanced, beloved lady who deserves her plaudits. The other is J.K. Rowling. And Warren says, Henry VIII's seventh wife was Ginny Weasley.
Yeah, confusing Hilary Mantel and J.K. Rowling, I don't think will be done again in a hurry. An aggressive change of bowling.
Shaheen, indeed, interesting, given the Stokes, who I think he's taken a couple of times, but this one is just pushed away by Stokes into the offside. I remember a British Rail campaign, Messrs, a long time ago, to get people to travel on the train, usual stuff. Because I remember it was at Rickmansworth Station when I used to live there as a kid, and there's a picture of Henry VIII, and single to Hampton Court. He was asking.
I remember that campaign myself.
Hang on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, as this is left outside of off stump by Stokes. Anyway, so yes, there was Henry VIII. Single to Hampton Court, please. Sorry, a return to Hampton Court, please. I beg your pardon, I got it wrong. I've spoiled the joke. And underneath, someone had scrawled in pencil, and a single for the wife.
Very good. So should we jingle up Shaheen Shah Afridi?
We should.
It's always time for Shaheen Afridi.
No, not that other guy, that Shaheen.
It's always time for Shaheen Afridi.
And this one is driven with a big high elbow, but straight to mid-off again, and there's no run. Speaking of J.K. Rowling, the bowler is the man with the face like the sorting hat, Shaheen Afridi.
Yes, it is
He's
rather
got that sort of crumpled visage.
Crumpled is exactly right, and it is remarkably crumpled for a 21-year-old.
Described on in his cricket info profile, I think, as a baby face on a giant body, which I'm not sure I'd describe it as a baby face, but he's quite handsome in his own way. I think slapped away by Ben Stokes, but there's a man on the deep cover boundary, so we'll only get him a single to bring John Simpson on to strike. The man.
Well, I think Afridi's. Sorry, I was going to say Afridi's opening spell was quite impressive, I thought.
Well, the ball he got Zach Crawley with. Good luck facing that first ball.
Yeah.
Well, the ball that got Vince, although Vince probably was looking to play a shot that the ball was not there to be played, nonetheless, it really shot through on him. So there's definitely something in this wicket for bat and ball, and the score probably pretty much reflects that. I reckon 135 for 4. 2 balls left of Shaheen's over. He's bowling it to John Simpson, who drives to deep cover and will get his first one-day international run. So he is off and running. Messrs, what's making you chuckle?
The joy of a Middlesex fan seeing the Middlesex keeper actually score a run.
Well, Simo, as I say,
John Simpson's been the one part of the Middlesex team that's actually been functioning over the last few years.
Not as much as, again, he's had a bit of a dip in form. We used to call him Red Adair because he'd often come in, particularly in the championship winning season, when all about him was crumbling. And that one is worked off his legs by Stokes. They have to hurry, but they will get another single. Shaheen bowling from that nursery end, or the Tim Murter end as we like to call it. But at the end of that over, England are 137 for 4, run rate shade over 6. Simpson on 1, Ben Stokes his captain on 17. Messrs, who have you got?
Well, in fact, I sort of hesitate to say this, but other than Satan by name, he says, as much as I hate people saying that they are stoked, I guess Pakistan's bowlers are allowed to use it. Beyond that, we appear to be up to date on socials. Thanks mainly to Nestler's keeping up to date so well.
Oh, Nestler's is just a pro when it comes to tweet reading. This one is just pushed away, but no run.
So Jez is a grandfather, and Nestler's is a pro.
Well, we all have our qualities. Back foot pushed down the ground towards sort of wide mid-on, I suppose, and will just be an ambled single for Ben Stokes.
It'll be an interesting challenge for Simpson, who I can't imagine would have thought he'd be playing a one-day international for England. Facing up to it, you don't get many good leg spinners in county cricket. I mean, there's a few knocking around, but not.
No, he's forward and he's chipped this, and he's chipped it to Harris Ralph at mid-on, and we'll get another single.
I mean, particularly
so
playing at
taking his time.
Sorry, Tony. Particularly playing at Lords, where a lot of teams won't play a spinner in a lot of the time.
Well, alas, no, and this is what ultimately I think caused Ollie Rayner to retire, which I think was a real shame, as that one is driven away into the offside by Ben Stokes. He doesn't seem happy with that. Perhaps he thought there was more. He's giving it some air, is Shadab Khan.
Yeah, he is to Stokes and Simpson. He wasn't at all to Vince.
Forward comes Stokes, pushed to mid-wicket. No run.
I guess he's trying to create the... He was bowling very flat and quick at Vince to try and not allow him to
Well, it worked.
drive. It did, yes.
It accounted for him. This one, he does err in length, drops it short. Stokes says thank you very much, and he hauls it from outside off to the deep mid-wicket boundary for one of these.
That went like a tracer bullet.
That he wasn't really in position to play that shot, because I think it was a googly as well as being very short, so it was quite a long way outside off stump, and he had to get very low as it skidded through, but he hit that with ferocious power through mid-wicket.
Well, if you watch the wrists on the replay, I mean, he just really gets on top of it. Not a shot you'd find in the textbook, I don't think. Not in the MCC coaching manual.
It's very good.
Such a thing still exists.
I'm not sure it does, if it ever did. But it's very, very good improvisation from Stokes.
It was indeed. So he'll move on to 22. Shaheen will be back into the attack. He'll be bowling to John Simpson, the Middlesex wicketkeeper. Oh, and he drops one short. Welcome to one-day international cricket batting, John. It's a good, sharp delivery, which 87 miles an hour with a little bit of bounce too, and Simpson led it through to Mohammed Rizwan behind the stumps. There was no run, 143 for 4.
Game's quite nicely poised, isn't it? It's been very entertaining.
No, it is beautifully poised. It was always going to be, I think, a different proposition to Cardiff this game. Pakistan, with their recent form, you couldn't see them falling over in quite the same way as before. Edged wide of Rizwan, evades slip and wicketkeeper, and John Simpson has his first boundary. But even as a avowed Middlesex fan that I am, I've got to admit that was a jolly streaky one.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Slip is wide. The slip was at second slip, really. I guess with Shaheen trying to move the ball away from the left-hander, and the edge was just fine enough that Rizwan couldn't get across to it. He's standing reasonably close for somebody of Shaheen's pace, and it was never going to be second slip's catch.
Bodies were flying everywhere. Rizwan to his left, the second slip fielder to his right, and both evaded both. That one is really through at pace again, and a shout for, I think, probably LBW. Certainly wasn't an edge.
No, there was it was a bouncer that went past him at sort of rib height. They were appealing for a glove.
Does he think he's shouting?
They were appealing for a glove down the leg side, but I think it missed everything. Similar to the one that Phil Salt was reprieved with in the first over of the game, the one that cut him in half, and they thought he'd gloved it or something down the leg side.
That is ever the way with reviews. The camera zooms in on the fielding team captain, Barbara Azam, of course, in this case, but he wanted very little to do with that. Indeed, it was a bouncer, and it caught a little bit of his upper arm. Forward comes Simpson, pushes this back to Shaheen, who's on his toes, quickly in to field under John Simpson's nose.
John Simpson's long and thin and pointy nose. He's very. I mean, no, it's a good. It's not a criticism. I like a strong, firm Roman nose. Shaheen's got one too.
I've got a Roman nose. Rome's all over my face.
Shaheen's got one too. Very prominent prow on the front of the face.
Shaheen's just got a face that's, I don't know, made of plasticine. It's kind of weird, but strangely alluring. 147 for 4. John Simpson stands with his bat aloft, full, and on the bounce, up and over. Shaheen and Simpson will get another single. He will move on to 7, 4 of them somewhat fortuitous, and England 2 south of 150.
I think if you watch John Simpson bat and you didn't know, you would guess he was a wicket-keeper. There's a lot of the bat waggling up and down. It's very busy. It's very sort of energetic, and the fielders are diving all over the place. On that one, mid-off and mid-on both dived at each other. He looks like he'd be quite annoying to bowl to.
Yeah, many's an occasion. As I said, he's annoyed opposition attacks. That one is Kip's rather low, and Stokes has a little waggle, and he's not happy at having missed out on that. But it looked, was it a slower ball, do you think?
The odd one is just.
Well, it says 89 miles an hour, but
it wasn't slower then.
Yeah,
but it looked.
There is some kind of two-paced in terms of the carry. Maybe it's a bit bouncier from the pavilion end than the nursery end. I'll have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, it did just die through to Rizwan, didn't it?
Anyway, what have you got? You probably have to be quick at Shadab Khan.
Well, what Warren says about Shaheen, when we were comparing him with a baby, he said only if the said baby is Benjamin Button. And
Shadab Khan is in, and that one again rather squares Simpson up. He's, wouldn't say he's getting a working over, but he's looked far from comfortable, to be honest, so far, as John Simpson. He's adjusting his cap, trying to settle back down to his work. There's a slip in place. He drives this away, drives it through extra cover. He's going to get 4 for that. That should make him feel a bit better. That was a very legitimate 4.
Yeah, given a little bit more air, a little bit over pitch. Good stride from John Simpson. Played it under his eyes and timed it away very nicely. He does have some power from a fairly slight frame.
Oh no, he does. He can launch a big 6 with the best of them as he flicks this away around the corner. But there's a man on the 45, and it will not even be a single. But he's moved on to 11 as Simo. He's got a rather toothy grin. He flashes back at Shadab Khan.
Another keeper. He looks a little bit like Luke Ronke.
I can't picture Luke Ronke well enough. I don't have photographic memories of worldwide wicket keepers as this one is steered around down to long leg by Simpson. They will take 2. Good tidy running brings him on to 13. The 150 is up for England. 154 for 4.
It's the long thin face and the toothy grin.
Okay.
But yeah, on that power, go
was
and look,
Ronke? Sorry, go on.
Go and look up those Middlesex 6 hitting challenges they did a few years ago.
Oh no, I know. I remember that. Brendan McCullum was involved in that, I think. As this one is whipped down to mid-on by Simpson, they take another single. 1 ball left of the over. Didn't Ronke play for both New Zealand and Australia, or am I thinking of someone else?
He did. Yeah. Played a few games for Australia before moving to New Zealand and becoming an important part of that team that got to the 2015 World Cup final.
Much so. This one's driven by Stokes this time, but straight to mid-off, and there is no run. It's the end of that over. It's 155 for 4. Messers.
So David Football says you have to speculate that playing for a non-fashionable county is still a bar to selection in 2021. Harvey Hussain and Ben Cox might be wondering. I can also tell you that Barty has won the first 3 games and is up 40-15 in the 4th game. Piskova's only taken 1 point so far.
Good lord.
Sounds
like a bit of a pasting.
So far, yes.
155 for 4. Chris Silverwood's up there on the home team balcony at Lord's. Plucked from his Norfolk holiday. I wonder if he was on the Broads somewhere on a boat.
Got the call standing on top of a canal boat to try and get reception.
Oh, he was on the. He was.
No, I'm joking. I think he was actually driving down to Norfolk at the time.
Wouldn't be a canal. It wouldn't be a canal then. It would more likely have been on the Broads. It's River Ouse, isn't it? As this one is whipped away round the corner by Simpson down to long leg. He'll get a single for his trouble. He'll move on to 15.
Just a couple of overs for Shaheen Shatafridi, and they brought back this man, the other opening bowler.
Ali Doobie-doo. Very much so. Hassan Ali, 1 for 29 for him so far.
Very well in his first over.
This one's bowled. Ben Stokes, absolutely neck and crop, and Stokes had a mighty swing, and it just came back in. His off stump has been flattened. Pakistan had their 5th, and they will feel so far the runes are with them.
That was a rush of blood.
It was an absolute golf swing, wasn't it? By Ben Stokes.
It's miles away from it.
The head was miles up in the air. He completely lost his shape on that shot, having looked very solid hitherto. Ben Stokes gone for 22 off 26 balls, 2 fours and 1 6. And England, 156 for 5 now, need to just re-establish themselves if they're going to get a decent score.
Well, I would fear for them a little bit now. This is where, you know, when you bowled first and you were all over the opposition like a cheap suit, then it's an easier looking game. But there's serious adversity here. 5 down, ODI at Lords with that lack of experience. That may be rather more tricky, I suspect.
Diana Keithley says, let's hope SA get the better of Ireland tomorrow. Can't wait for India and King Kohli again. And Richard Harmon says, thanks for reminding me about that Henry VIII poster at Ricksmansworth Station, Tony. Perhaps you also saw the legendary graffiti on Gerrard's Cross Railway Bridge, Sid Vicious for Pope.
I probably did. Not that far away, of course, Gerrard's Cross.
There's a good cricketing political bit of graffiti I can give you in a little while. But after jingled up getting his first bat in a one-day international, this man of Somerset.
It is, Mr. Gregory.
Oh, coming up next, Gregory's bowling, and the man.
He's going to face Hassan Ali, and he pushes it to mid-on, a little bit inside edgy. Wasn't the most convincing of shots. Hassan Ali, leading wicket taker, I think, certainly for Pakistan in their 2017 Champions Trophy win, I believe.
Yeah.
He was the tournament's leading wicket taker.
He was, yeah. Only came into the tournament part-way through, replacing Wahab Riaz, but was quite brilliant and has been in superb form since the end of 2020.
And he's got Lewis Gregory in his sights, and Gregory actually plays this one very solidly out to point. And there is no run. 86 miles an hour from Hassan Ali.
Gregory not in the best of form with the bat, hasn't really scored any runs in the blast this year, but has had a couple of very good blast seasons in the last few seasons. We'll know some of these players well. He's played for Islamabad United in the PSL in 2020.
I'll tell you something else about Hassan Ali in a moment, maybe after this ball, if he gives me time. He's going to be bowling to Gregory, who looks to pull, and I think he may have got something on that. Has he? No, it's just been thrown up in the air to mislead us completely. Big smile on his face, but Mohammed Rizwan trying to fool us before going away for a conversation with first slip. Probably saying how it should have been an edge, but it wasn't. Hassan Ali only played once at Lords. That was in 2016. Took 1 for 52, and guess who that wicket was?
Ben Stokes.
Correct. He bowled him. So 2 games at Lords. Ben Stokes in his sights twice, bowled him twice, whipped away round the corner. Oh, Gregory keen to get himself off the mark. He was halfway down the track, and with all his 14 balls experience in international cricket, John Simpson said, "No, lad, you go back," and he got back just in time. Messers, what you got?
Well, Warren says something I don't entirely understand, but maybe you'll get it. It says Broad's oozing. What the hell is going on there?
Broad. Oh, we're talking about. I was saying the Waveney, or maybe it's the Waveney. There's two. It's the rivers then that make up the rivers that make up the Norfolk Broads.
It'll be a sort of it'll be a barge really, rather than a.
But I seem to think it's the River Waveney is one of them, and I thought the Ouse was the other. But if you're local to that area, let me know. I've been boating on the Broads a few times. Shadab Khan is forward, it's in, and Simpson is forward to push him into the offside, and there's no run.
There are river oozes all over England, actually, aren't there?
Yeah, there's one in Yorkshire, there's one in the Midlands as well.
There's one in Lewis as well.
Oh, well, there you go. As this one is worked away to mid-wicket by Simpson, but there's no run. That run rate just a shade under 6. England, just as they thought they got going, Vince was going nicely, Salt was going nicely, but Pakistan have found a way to take wickets at just the right moment. Ben Stokes looked like he might be in for a hatful of more aggressive runs, and again the wicket came just at the right time. That's a full toss though, and it's beautifully whipped away towards mid-wicket, but there's a man down there. And it will only be a single for Simpson. It will bring Lewis Gregory onto strike, yet to get off the mark for him.
Slightly aerial from Simpson, but in the gap. A full-length dive from the man at short mid-wicket. Couldn't nail it. Might be slightly annoyed with himself that he missed out on the full toss.
9 wickets in 11 PSL games for Shadab Khan.
Yeah, it was in good form with the bat, with the ball. Had a really poor tournament with the bat, barely averaging double figures, all striking.
He did get one score of 35 with the bat, as that one is just flicked really to mid-on. There is no run. Gregory's looking a little bit twitchy, a little bit restless, as you would at Lords on a big day at Lords. You're yet to get off the mark. A slipper waits. He's onto the back foot, but steers it around the corner, and that will, as that's pushed to square leg. Gregory will get himself off the dreaded mark.
Off the mark.
He's onto 1.
Off the mark in one-day international cricket. Hasn't really done much of note for England in his limited overs career. Has had a very decent run of it in T20 leagues.
Wristily flicks that away down to deep mid-wicket. Gets a single. And it concludes that Shadab Khan over, because he whistles through them at rapid pace. 159 for 5. Messers.
So we're actually up to date. I was going to list some of our friends on Crick Tracker India, but I'm only getting 2 of them at the moment, and there should be many more. Mataza Ali and Arif Nawaz are showing up. Oh, sorry, I know why not. And they keep coming. Ikon Balu, Kanha Raghav, Lani Samir, Mohit Kumar Rinku, Arun Sharma,
and Ali.
Mid Sajid.
That should be a wide, and yes, signalled as such by Alex Wharf. Bradford.
Wide.
Played in his time for Glamorgan, Notts, and Yorkshire.
Yes, would have found himself very at home.
Glamorgan and others, I think.
Would have found himself very at home at Cardiff. Had a long career with Glamorgan. Played a few times for England in the mid 2000s.
He did indeed. It's Hassan Ali, 2 for 30 for him. That one of Stokes flattening his off stump, and he's gone straight through Simpson's defences. He has another wicket. It's bowled again. It's 160 for 6, and England are in no small amount of bother.
Go OUT the window, go OUT the window, go OUT the window, 'cause OUT spells out.
Hassan's caused havoc against the left-handers today. That angle, they're not quite sure whether to come forward or back, and that one it's really just too quick.
It's a poor shot. It was a poor shot from Simpson,
yeah,
I'm afraid.
He had a drive at it. It was almost looked like he was beaten for pace almost. He was late on the stroke through the gap. Gone for 17 off 19, tidy enough. But England in some trouble now. 160 for 6 with very little experience to come. Lewis Gregory batting in one-day international cricket for the first time, and in at number 8, a man who has some batting talent but is only batting in one-day international cricket for the 3rd time, I think. In fact, no, for the first time, because he didn't bat in either of his first 2 one-day internationals. It's this man, who will know Lewis Gregory well, of course, Somerset teammates.
Annie Chave, are you watching?
3 times for saying something that was naughty. Kicked off the pitch was quite an incident. Yeah, hasn't covered himself in glory throughout his career, Craig Overton.
No, but it's the men of Somerset that are going to have to try and haul England to something competitive here. Or, if they don't, they both might have a role to play in doing something exceptional with the ball to try and turn things around in that department. Certainly, I think it was a good toss to win for Barbo, and he didn't waste any time in saying, "We'll have a bowl, please." Not surprisingly, in comes Hassan Ali. And Overton, that giant lurch-like frame, reaches forward and just guides it down to backward point. And there's no run. 19 balls, 17 runs for John Simpson. It was a similar ball to the one that got Stokes. It came in, if anything, a little bit more. got a bit of an inside edge, but it certainly wasn't the expansive shot that Stokes was trying to play. But I'm afraid it was the Bairstow gap and add a bit.
He just didn't line it up,
Simpson
did he?
there.
Just never lined it up at all.
In comes Hassan Ali, back foot for Overton. Can he summon up? Where was it in New Zealand where he just about rescued England?
Yeah, was that Auckland where England got bowled out for 58?
Yeah, and it was only 58 because he got 30 something.
Yeah, they were on target for their lowest ever Test score at one point.
Oh, so Eden Park. Yes, it was Eden Park in 2018. He made 33, saved England from their lowest ever Test total.
And later that day, the sandpaper storm broke.
And that one, inside edge, a huge shout from Hassan Ali. He's jumping up and down like a jack in the box, and umpire Wharf wants nothing to do with it. They think they've got their man. They're high-fiving, and he's walked anyway. The decision's being reviewed. Pakistan are already celebrating. They must be 100% confident. Overton is standing.
Yeah,
his ground defiantly.
Rizwan flung the ball in the air immediately. Hassan Ali went up as well. We did see with the Phil Salt decision that they thought it had hit something, as did the umpire, and it hadn't. It's close to the inside edge. Michael Goff will have a decision to make.
Very close to the inside edge.
Good delivery from Hassan. It just came in.
All about ultra edge is this. Is it going to flicker as the ball comes through? It is. Overton has gone, I'm afraid. So if he's going to do something spectacular today, it'll be with the ball that he has to do it. Pakistan, after their Cardiff disappointments, are roaring back here. 164-7 are England, and Overton has gone.
It was a very ugly stroke, wasn't
it was a good delivery. Tall man caught on the crease, not really going anywhere, and Craig Overton's first one-day international innings is a 3-ball duck. 160 for 7 from 118 for 2.
Then he waddled away,
Waddle. Well, Bryden Cass now. We're down amongst the bowlers that can bat a bit. Sorry, Messers, go on.
Hopefully. Satan by name says, I remember the ooze in Lewis flooding Harvest Brewery. Tragic indeed. And yes, that happened quite frequently in my youth. Harvest make a good drop, I got to say. He also says, in serious trouble now. I might even lose this after a great start. Yes, I've got to say that the start was fortunate in a way, given that Imam dropped a very difficult chance from Salt very early on. If that had been taken, England would be in great trouble now, I'd imagine.
Well, Hassan Ali is in exceptional form at the moment, thoroughly enjoying his work, and I'm not at all surprised he's going to be bowling the 5th ball of this over. 2 slips in place, and Bryden Cass will get himself off the mark. He's looking for 2, he's guided off. It was off down that slope down towards the left of the pavilion, front of the Allen stand.
I'll jingle up the South African-born Durhamite, who has some ability with the bat.
An evil, jealous gypsy put him under cast. Always the Bryden, and never, never, never the bride.
And yes, he's certainly that. The Broads, I got that completely wrong, by the way. It isn't the use, as this one onto his toes and pushed away to the onside by Gregory. There will be no run. End of that Hassan Ali over. 4 for 31 for him. 2 men on 1, Cass and Gregory. 161 for 7. Messers.
Wrong, man in Dhaka says, interesting, can England outplay Winvis? Winvis as it stands, England 41%, Pakistan 57%, tied 2%.
That might have been a little while ago when that got sent in.
Yeah, I suspect so. Well, 4 minutes ago. Steve Kellett, obviously standing in for Durban Oak, says, deep breath, here we go. Doomed.
Big old doomed.
And then Josie Oak comes in and says, I said we were doomed. And that's Oh no, we've got Moggs back with us. I neglected to finish my cast jingle, and I'm sure you lay awake at night wondering what that could have been.
Shadab Khan's going to be in, and that hurried cast as he kept low and played it off his legs, whipped it away to square leg, gets a single. Those Norfolk Broads rivers, definitely not the Ouse. The River Chef, the Waveney, the Yar, and the Bure, but definitely not the Ouse. Ouse is more Cambridgeshire, isn't it?
The Ouse is a very common river name in this country.
In comes Shadab Khan down. Forward comes Gregory. Pushes down to a wide mid-off. Gets a single. So he'll move on to 2.
Bryden Cass's list A. It doesn't have much of a list A batting average, but in T20 cricket has an average of 20 and strikes at nearly 9 runs and over. So he's got some, and a first-class batting average of 26. So he's no complete bunny. But Sakib Mahmood and Matt Parkinson really aren't much to shout about with the bat.
Given plenty of air. Cass flicks it rather wristily, but straight to cover. There is no run. Son of James Cass, who was a right-arm fast-medium bowler for Northants in the 80s. Played some international cricket with Rhodesia as was. And this is away again into the offside. There is no run.
Yeah,
trying to tease and torment Cass with a bit of flight is Shadab.
Yeah, he's bowled well in this second half of his spell.
He skips in again. Again, plenty of air. Cass plays it cautiously, watchfully, and sensibly, I think. But that run rate now well under 6.
Yeah.
And, that, of course, is what happens when wickets are tumble. Excellent toss to win by Barber.
They were well over 7 and over when Salt and Vince were going well.
Last ball of this over, in comes Shadab Khan. Waited for by Cass. Flicked away to point. Should get a single.
Yes.
Yes, he did. And with that, he's nicked the strike as well. 164 for 7. Gregory 2, Cass 3. Pakistan on top. Messers all over your social media messages.
Well, Said My Name says not over a ton today. Very rarely is.
But 100 under a ton.
Diana Keithley says another one of the many South African-born England players. It'd be interesting to think where English cricket would have been over the last 20 years without South African-born players.
Last more than 20 years. South Africa's been exporting cricketers around the world for a very, very long time.
He's capable of getting the ball at 90 miles an hour, but it's his batting that they need something from now, do England, as Hassan Ali, not surprisingly, who's been the assassin-in-chief, has 2 slips and then gets on top of this. Nicely does. Carson steers down to third man. Will get a single.
Yeah, Hassan Ali, when he's on a roll, he sort of creates this energy and this drama about himself when he's going well, and he's been on fire in this second spell. Good change from Barber, it has to be said, that worked taking off Shaheen after a couple of overs and then bringing Hassan back. Bryden Cass, by the way, has doubled the number of runs he'd scored in list A cricket in this innings.
This one short and driven beautifully by Lewis Gregory away through extra cover for 4 runs.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Very pleasant on the up. Gregory considers himself a batting all-rounder, although his record would suggest a bowling all-rounder, but he's got some ball striking ability for sure. Yes, Bryden Cass had only batted once in list A cricket before today and had scored 2.
Well, he's been playing. Was he playing in the PSL this year? I know he has played in
Gregory.
the PSL.
I'm not sure about this year, but he has previously. I think
he's
last.
Also played in the Big Bash, hasn't he, with Brisbane Heat? So that one is guided really down to third man. They will take a single.
By the way, I can tell you that Barty took the first set 6-3.
Have a change at the end of this over. Messers is going to slide into the summariser's role, or take off one hat and replace it with another. Fourthie will come back on and do the and do some socials, and then Bear will replace Tony and do some ball by ball.
What a team! What a team! Hassan Ali, as you rightly say, 3 balls left. We're halfway through his 7th over, and up onto his toes goes Cass. drops it down into the onside. They take one, they think about two, they'd be daft to, and that indeed is also the conclusion that Cass and Gregory collectively reach. So just the single, 171 for 7.
It's a nice little
7 for Gregory, 5 for Cass.
In a way, it's not so bad for these guys personally. You know, you get a nice long time to bat.
Yeah, but they're being given plenty to think about by this enlivened Pakistan attack, although this one is crunched away, and that should go the distance through extra cover. Indeed it does. It's 4 more.
Continuing to punish the bad ball, a little bit of width twice in this over from Hassan Ali, and Gregory very pleasantly.
That was very pleasant indeed.
On the up through the offside. There is some, as you say, we've been saying, this is a pretty good cricket wicket.
Yep, something for both bat and ball. Hassan Ali bowling from that pavilion end. Solidly defended at this occasion by Gregory, having hit the ball previously, as we were describing, quite fluidly away through extra cover. But it is the end of the over. It's the end of my little spell. 30 are completed. England, with some rear guard action needed, 175 for 7.
Thanks, Tony. I'll just catch us up on tweets before handing over to Forthy. David Football says, bloody hell, do we have a proper contest at long last? I'm strapped in here. Well, it looks like we might, but who knows what might happen in the second innings, though. And I think we're up to date on socials, Forthy.
Oh, hello, Messi.
Well, splendid.
Goodbye, Messi.
G'day, Bear.
Are you on?
No. I'm your colour man.
Fair enough. This is Lewis Gregory. He's played for England before, isn't he? In T20 in New Zealand. Am I making that up in my head?
No, I think you're correct.
That was a couple of years ago, I seem to remember.
He has... yes, he's played 8 T20s for England previously, and has a strike rate of 116 and an average of 7 in T20s.
Wow.
Runs scored 35.
Well, yeah, no, he didn't do a lot, that's true, but he was in the middle of the order in a T20. But I seem to remember he played reasonably well for England at that point. And hopefully he can do the same again today here. And I'm hoping that Bryson Cass is a bit like Chris Morris, but who knows? Born in the same part of the world, and you never know. He's tall, probably hits a long ball. Just got to stay there for, 16 overs, 17 overs.
Well, I mean, given that his first-class record is way better than his white ball record, it may be appropriate given he's got 20 overs to go.
Well, I think so. I mean, I think you've just got to
play first-class cricket.
You've just got to wear the overs out here. Haven't got off to such a cracking start. Things are falling behind, just under 6 and over. They can get through to 230, 240 from here, which is quite an ask with the tail, I suppose. At least it's not really competitive, but it'll give them a chance.
Yes, well, I need to get them to 249 to have a chance with my GPL pick.
Oh, yes, well, how many entries do we have in today's competition? Let's have a quick little butchers. 13. Lower score 177, that's out. Edged. No, we're looking at replays. Sorry, they're having drinks break. 177, 347, 401, 421, 467. Well, they could all be out if England don't get out to 200 for a start, eh?
Yeah.
In fact, if England would be all out now, unless we managed to bowl out Pakistan for something cheaply, everyone would be out of it. Which is good. I like it when the bank wins, obviously.
I'm not sure that's going to encourage people to enter.
Well, the thing is, if enough people enter, there's always going to be a winner. But if enough of you don't enter, the bank wins. Right.
Indeed.
I think if you're Gregory or Cass, you're probably not displeased. I think the point was made. It's like, when your son's playing on a Friday night and you get there and you see, oh God, he's batting at 9. Oh, I'm going to have to sit here and talk to the other parents for a couple of hours. He probably won't even bat. And then a tumble of wickets and he gets in and you think, can't say I'm displeased.
No. Exactly.
So if you're Gregory or Cass, you're probably quite pleased to be in there.
Well, you'd hope so. You'd hope they're up for it. I mean, Gregory clearly can bat, and I don't know much about cars, but presumably if he's coming in at number 9, I don't rate him too highly, and with 17 overs to go, he probably wouldn't be expected to get through to the end. Shadab is going to continue. He's on. He's got 1 for 34. He's in his 9th over. Now, I can't remember. Presumably only 3 bowlers can bowl 10, and the others can bowl 9. That's defended back down the track by Cars, and there is no run. I don't know when they have to make that choice. Do you have to nominate, or can you just do it at a time?
Don't know.
Shadab tosses that one up, driven by Cars nicely through extra cover. There is a man fielding in the deep. It's Shoaib, and it'll just be the one. Good drive though. Got to the pitch of the ball. I fell asleep next door, I have to say. And
did you see Stokes getting out?
No, I didn't see Stokes getting out. How was Stokes out?
He
I did actually.
He should have played to the last ball of the innings. It was a shocker.
It was that one he came charging down the wicket to Hassan Ali.
Yeah, he was miles away from it.
Yeah, well, you know, he hasn't played a lot recently. Driven down the track by Gregory, who'll get himself a single.
Yeah, but given the lack of experience in this team, Vincent Stokes really had an obligation to take some care, I think.
Well, that was always going to be the problem here, wasn't it? There are a few limited experience, and when things started to go wrong, it was likely that things would go horribly wrong. But Cast gets himself 4 runs. He goes back, tries to cut one, gets an outside edge, beats the slip, and makes its way slowly, but eventually gets there to the third man boundary for 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, he did mean to play it behind square, but maybe I'm doing a bit of an injustice. Maybe it came off the face. It looked a bit outside edgy, and probably went to go squarer, but decent shot. Gets right forward to that. He's a tall man, so he's got a big stride, and just forces it square on the offside. Get himself another single. And he's got
Is this the first time those big newsstands next to the press centre have been filled at Lord's?
I presume so. Can't see
Yeah,
it being even if they were allowed full attendance at county games, they wouldn't get it, because that's worked into the leg side for a single. I suppose they might have done for T20s, but I think this is the first weekend where full crowds have been allowed. So COVID will let it rip, don't worry.
I noticed that the pavilion's pretty empty because all the members are so old they're scared of getting COVID, I suspect.
Well, they've probably all been double jabbed, but yeah, you could be right. And of course, Wimbledon's got full capacity going on this weekend, and the football will have 90,000 people tomorrow. And then by Tuesday, we'll have 100,000 COVID cases a day. That'd be great.
There's also there'll be an open-top bus parade should the unthinkable happen. And
God!
Can you imagine the super spreader event that will be?
Well, it will be. I think they said they were going to put that off till September, though. They weren't going to allow them to do it till September. I think there'll
be gatherings.
There'll be gatherings.
Though.
Can you imagine? Jesus Christ, London on Monday if England win. It'll just be people littered all over the streets and drunken stupids.
Probably won't happen.
I'm quite confident. I think I prefer
sure.
Italy to Spain.
I prefer Italy to Spain, but I have Italy as favourites, I think.
Cars gets another outside edge, just jabbing his bat down and nearly beaten for pace. It gets 2 runs down to third man. I don't know. I don't think this Italy side is that great. I don't look at them as superstars.
No, it's not classic Italian. It's not a classic Italian side, but they're very cohesive and very well managed, a bit like England in many ways.
Exactly. That's what I think. We got better pace, and Chiellini's old.
Better pace.
I mean, they're
He's
wily.
36, yeah,
exactly. They're wily at the back, but they're probably slow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You
Short on the back foot, forced by Car Square on the offside. And there's no run, and I think if they start with Saka and Sterling, and they can get down those flanks, it can cause them all sorts of trouble.
Oh, stop it, Bear. Stop talking about football. You can talk about how dreadful Australia were in the T20, but don't talk about football.
Yeah, what happened there? I mean, I presume it wasn't a full-strength side.
Not far off.
Not far off, but that's pretty poor, isn't it?
It was very poor.
Well, that's good. We're going into World T20. They can be as shit as they like. That's forced off the back foot by Cass. bit of a misfield behind square. He set off for a run. Gregory was more convinced of it, and he called Cast through to get a single.
Yes, Hazelwood, Mitch Marsh, and Wade were all pretty good. The rest of them were pretty shit.
Warner's not there though, is he? Was Smith out there?
No, Smith's not there, and he wasn't in the team, and Warner wasn't playing. Finch didn't do well there.
Yeah, Finch can be a bit up and down though, can't he? Driven by Gregory, but he can't beat cover, and there is no run.
A clarification from Peter Lloyd. It's a case of when the bowlers get to 9 overs, only 2 of them can be chosen for a further over.
Yes.
Right.
Well, they've used 6 bowlers anyway, so they've got plenty of options, one would assume. Ralph was only in his 4th over. He's gone for 30 in his first 3. He got a bit of tap from Salt and Vince earlier. Out on the back foot, it's forced nicely by Gregory. Square. Again, it's down towards third man. They'll probably come back for 2 this time. They do indeed. And England's score moves on to 187. What do you think we can get to? 230, 240 if we're lucky?
Yeah, well, these two have been doing quite well together in the circumstances.
Well, yeah.
And, what have they got? 18 overs to go. Even if they just go at 4 and over, for 18 overs, you've still got 70 runs coming there. So,
yeah,
that's 250.
Well, exactly. Gregory hits that nicely. Square. Again, it's a little bit of a misfield. Good stop by Amar. I mean, it was going pretty quick. But he spills it a little bit past him, and they managed to get through for another single.
There was an interesting stack on WinViz earlier on saying that in all the ODIs played in 11 grounds in England, I think since 2010, Lords has significantly the slowest scoring rate of any of them.
It certainly wasn't earlier. I mean, they started out in a blaze of glory. Apart from 2 wickets, Salt and Vince went really well. But there was always that.
Salt was very lucky.
I mean, he was lucky, fair enough. But I mean, he just kept going. But you have to say that this is exactly the thing with the inexperience in a side and the longer tail than you'd had if you had a normal side. You just kind of felt Salt and Vince and Stokes pretty much had to take this side through to sort of 40 overs or high 30s for a really decent score to be attained.
My sense is Salt is blessed with a very good eye and really probably better suited to T20 than ODIs.
Yep.
I wouldn't disagree with that. Further clarification from Peter Lloyd: the bus parade can't happen Monday under the rules, and by the time the rules relax, the players are on holiday. I agree with you, Peter, but can you imagine people not gathering were there to be success?
Well, exactly. I think that'll all go out the window.
There's a few on YouTube if you can see that, Forthy.
There is. I'll get to them. Yep.
Fahim is in. Gregory turns that down towards long leg. He'll get himself a single.
Satan by name. Stokes' dismissal was dreadful, not the shot of a captain. Diane Keithley, bat the overs from this position, take what you get, England. And suddenly being England captain won't introduce sudden mindset change for Stokes. Way he plays aggressive. So, okay. Satan by name, England must post 250 to win this, in my opinion.
I don't even know if we win at 250, but at least it offers something to bowl at. Defended it into the offside by Cass, out to cover, and there's no run. In a modern day, 250 is low. But it does give you something to bowl at. 189 does not. Although if England get a couple of early wickets as well. Interesting.
I mean, if you lose Imam and Babar cheaply again, then Pakistan are in a whole heap of trouble.
Well, that's it. I mean, Faka looked really good the other day, but if you can get him too. Full driven at by Cass, who looks pretty reasonable, it has to be said, with a bat in his hand. Driven back to the bowler, and there's no run. Anyone know how old he was when he came to England? Cass?
Got no idea, to be honest.
No, fairly young, I think.
Let's see what I can find.
Presumably his father, whoever's South African inside, has instilled the South African spirit in him.
But he used.
Oh wow!
used to play
Now
for
that's come up
Rhodesia.
sharply off the wicket again. Come in. I think he does a scramble ball and it managed to hit the seam every once in a while. Comes in sharply to Cast. He's trying to cut it against an under edge. It kind of missed his stumps by much. It's fielded by Rizwan, and they don't end up getting the stumps. Yeah, it's the old scramble seam. Whew.
So he's currently nearly 26 cars, and I can tell you that he made his first class in the Durham League in 2014. He was an overseas player for them.
Oh, okay, well there you go. Oh, now that's come in again sharply off the seam. I think once more scrambled. It's beating the inside edge of Cast's bat. Taken well by Rizwan. I didn't catch anything. I hope England's bowlers are watching this, because it does seem if you scramble the seam and it hits it, it's going quite a way. England 189 for 7.
You may not know that his dad, James Cast, played county cricket for Northamptonshire in the 80s.
Ah, there you go. I didn't know that. Baba is having a little chat with the umpire about something. I'll probably have to wipe the ball. No? Yes. No?
And it's 3-3 in the second set at Wimbledon. A couple of breaks to serve.
Who's winning that? Who won the first set?
Barty won the first set 6-3.
I kind of want her to win.
Yeah. I think she's just very likeable, isn't she?
She kind of is, yeah.
And she's a cricketer.
Yeah, apparently she's really quite good. Driven nicely by Cast this time, but only as far as cover. And there is no run.
The acceptable face of modern Australia.
Well, she's indigenous as well, which helps.
Exactly, yes.
Oh, I didn't realise that. I didn't realise she was indigenous. She's very light skinned, so presumably she's mixed, yeah. We've gone to the adverts. Presumably, umpires cut off a little bit of something off the cricket ball. There's a little bit of.
Okay, I'll do a few tweets and things.
Give us a couple of tweets, yeah.
Is it? I think now's the time. Farong. Whenever I hear the surname Gregory, I automatically think that I'm listening to Australia. Just call him LG or Lewis. Cheers. Okay then. And Farong again. Sorry to mention my Bangladesh test. Interesting batting. Brendan Taylor just dismissed.
Yeah, they're playing Zimbabwe, aren't they? I noticed that the other day. Going to win a test. Worked into the leg side and there's no run. Presumably they got 400 and something, didn't they? And bowled out Zimbabwe for not very much.
What?
Well, he says Brendan Taylor just dismissed 93 from 72, having my man on debut. Here we go. Takudzwadasha Kaitano is 2 from 78 balls. Zimbabwe 2 for 110 or 110 for 2.
Whoa! It's now 2 from 80 balls. That's amazing. Hashim Amla would be proud of him.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say Amla was doing something the other day like that, wasn't he? Shaheen is in. Oh, beaten on the outside edge, caught. Well, there's an appeal from Rizwan behind the stumps, so we know how useless that is. I mean, he appeals for everything. Shaheen sort of agreed with him, but then they both looked at each other, put their arms out and said, was he out? And clearly they don't think he was, because they've not decided to review it. A little smile on Shaheen's face. It seemed again to go a little bit off the seam. Now, they've done something with the ball, haven't they? They've tried to make this kookaburra last a bit longer and the seam a bit more proud, apparently. They've certainly been doing more this summer. If I remember, white ball's doing for quite a while. Cast ducks underneath a short ball from Shaheen that goes through the whiz-van. Has a smile on his face. I'm sure he's enjoying himself.
Bit of chatter between the cars and the bowler there.
Well, Gregory, he's played PSL. I mean, quite a few of these players have played in PSL, so they've seen, a fair bit of this bowling before. Won't be their first time viewing it. And Shaheen has decided to come around the wicket to Cast. It's full and into his pads. Nicely worked into the leg side by Cast, out through a vacant mid-wicket. There's a long on who's up inside the circle and has to chase it out. There's a square leg is deep or deep mid-wicket. And he'll get back for 2. England move into the 190s, 192 for 7 in the 34th over. Run rate is 5.7. Gregory 17 off 19. Cast 16 off 23. And Shaheen is into his 7th over. He has 1 for 30. Cast gets ready to accept the next delivery. Shaheen's back over the wicket. There's only a short experiment around the wicket, driven nicely by Cast. Past the diving cover, but mid-off is wide on the edge of the circle, and they won't get through for a single. 1 ball left in the over. Any more tweets?
Yes, Richard Lafette, where is Amir? We reply. Mohammed Amir is officially retired from international cricket while this Pakistan management, for which Reed Misbah are in charge. Richard Lafette, that's a shame. He's a rare talent.
He is. He had a fair few injuries, didn't he, after he came back from his suspensions. That's through to the keeper and there's no run. I think he has a problem with his, if I remember right, he has a problem with his hammies. They were certainly nursing him through the World Cup in 2019, and I think he decided that was it. Probably can get a fair amount of money playing in the PSL, and has decided that's bung his lot in with that. And maybe he has, I don't know if he's fallen out with Misbah. If that is the case,
who can read the runes of Pakistan?
Well, that is true. You know.
Diane Keatley, 2 from 80 pulls. Cheteshwar Pujara like. I think even Cheteshwar Pujara tends to go slightly faster. And Satan by name, nothing to do with cricket. I travelled back to the UK on the 30th, but because I'm vaccinated in Germany, I have to isolate for 10 days. If I was vaccinated in the UK, I wouldn't. Where is the logic? It's just political bollocks.
It is. Worked out off his hip by Cast down. Gregory to deep square leg, and they'll just get the 1 run. England crawling through the 190s.
An interesting statistic from the Zimbabwean game. Caetano and Brendan Taylor put on 95 for the second wicket, of which Caetano made 2.
Oh, I love those.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fahim gets another one to cut back sharply off the wicket. Cast doesn't look comfortable. Manages to get an inside half of the bat. It just drops down in front of him. No run.
One of my favourite memories from childhood is Tony Gregg single-handedly trying to win a match against the West Indies with Alan Ward, the old pace bowler, at the other end. One of the great noughts in Test match cricket. He was there for 2 hours while Gregg scored 60 or 70, I seem to remember. Didn't quite pull it off.
It's a bit like Leach and Stokes against the Aussies the other year.
Indeed. That's the most recent classic example.
Fahim in bowls, and Cast goes across his stumps this time. Plays it square on the offside. Imam Huck fields, but they do get through for the single.
Of course, generally speaking, in those circumstances, the one who scores very little is a bowler just trying to block it out. In this case, the one who scored very little is an opener who just stayed there while Taylor went crazy.
I presume that's only in about the 4th day, isn't it? Is it the 5th day or 4th day? 4th day.
It's day 4. It's the last session. Yes. And
So that
Zimbabwe
one's
need
closer to-
360.
That one's closer to Tavares and Botham at Edgbaston in 81 then.
Yes.
Fahim in. Lewis Gregory doesn't really move his feet and drives it up to mid-off with not a lot of force. It'll be no run.
Speaking of Botham in 81, I'm not normally an advocate of buying Murdoch newspapers, but there's an article in today's Times by Athers which is about the surviving members of the Test teams of 1981, which is actually superb. So if you can get your hands on it, I'd suggest having a look at that. It's got some terrific photos as well.
That's driven by Gregory, but can't beat cover and there's no run. Yeah, Tony put it up on our WhatsApp feed and I've downloaded it to the computer next door. I started reading it and then had to come and do the game, so I shall read
I read it.
It's
It is a superb piece. I was very, very sad to hear about Mike Hendrick, who sounds very ill.
Yes.
Well,
but still in great spirit.
Indeed, yes.
They're all knocking on a bit now. 81 was 40 years ago. That's driven nicely by Gregory. Again out to that extra cover region. Fielder taking his time to get around there, but he does. Now get back. Saib is out there. They get back for 2. And that's the end of.
I tried to recognise all the pictures before the identification. I got them all apart from Mark Hendrick and Chris Old, who looks nothing like Chris Old these days.
Isn't Chris Old the man who's running a fish and chip shop somewhere now?
He was. He's retired now.
In the supermarket for a while.
Yeah.
That's sad, isn't it?
Very sad.
Well, I guess, sport didn't pay until recently, did it?
No.
I mean, even football was only after the Premier League, really. I mean, I remember, Trevor Francis being the first £1 million football player, and that's in my lifetime. And now look where we're at. Shaheen is in to Cast, who just jabs it down in front of him. Maybe he doesn't fancy it because Gregory calls him through very quickly, and they do get a single. England creep towards that 200, 197 for 7 in the 36th over.
Yes, I always remember Kenny Suddle, who played 435 consecutive county championship games for Sussex, but had to work in the off-season in a sports short store as an assistant because it didn't pay enough playing cricket for the whole year, 7 days a week.
Exactly. Shaheen is in nicely. Inside that gets Gregory, pulls it down to long leg. They'll get one. Are they going to come back for two? No, they're not. And I remember, the World Cup winning rugby side. They've only just become professional. I mean, what's his name? Skipper Martin Johnson. He was a policeman at one point.
Yeah.
And he was when he was made captain of England. That's when that was the kind of period where they switched over to being professional.
Well, I suppose they both started as rich boys' games initially, didn't they?
Well, yeah. A lot of them got merchant banking jobs. Shaheen into the pads of Cast. He clips that nicely out through mid-wicket. He's got in front of square, out towards cow corner, and I think he's going to beat the fielder. It does indeed, and makes its way to the boundary. That is 4 runs to Bryden Cast. And it brings up the England 200. This is a good little fight back for these two from where England were.
I don't know if you've ever read Days in the Sun by Neville Cardus. It's very florid and very Edwardian. But he does a great interview with an old England Test player who's working in a factory. It's very poignant, very well written.
Yes, but it's so hard to read.
Well, I haven't read a book for years. That's guided down to third man by Hassan Ali, and there's no run. I read the paper every day. Kids don't give me time. I tried reading a book on holiday when the kids were 6, 7, 8, and I still didn't even manage it then.
I gave you a book when I was there 2 years ago, signed by the author, Bear, the one that Jeff Lemon signed for you. About the sandpaper affair.
I think someone might nick that because I can't find it in here. Oh, that's beaten outside the outside edge of Gregory's bat.
It's sounding like Jeremy in Peep Show complains to Mark that he's been reading the same 3 sentences for the last 2 hours. Help me to read, Mark. How do you read?
Oh, I can read. I'm a vociferous reader of journalism and stuff online.
A vociferous reader.
But
maybe voracious.
But I just don't.
You should read more books, then you'd know the difference between vociferous and voracious.
Well, shut up. The last book I read, Shaheen Afridi, is in. Clipped nicely by Gregory. Can't be in the wicket. No run. The last book I read was Hammer of the Gods. Led Zeppelin biography. Which was quite entertaining. And that was on a holiday in Kenya when Sophie was about 4. And she's now nearly 16.
Oh.
Then.
They just reshowed Stokes' dismissal. That has got to be... Yeah, I'm glad Hendo wasn't on because the rant would have gone for 5 minutes. It really would.
Yeah, it's a good-looking shot. He just missed the ball by a long way.
Well, his head was up in the air. His bat was about a foot from his body and another foot from the ball. It was a really rank shot.
Yeah, especially at the time of the game and the responsibility he's under. But hey, he's not played a lot of cricket. I mean, I'm quite glad in a way that they've called him back into this series because, he's going to be... That's going to be a wide. First ball of Ralph's 5th over is a rank wide, and we'll give it a little play of this.
Wide.
I want him to get back into some sort of international shape, even if it is one-day cricket. Used to the crowd, used to the flow of it, and to be ready for India.
Speaking of India, what are they doing in the time between when they played that WTC final and the series?
Well, presumably, they were supposed to be having a 3-week break, was what I heard. But then, and they're in England, obviously, so restrictions are reduced. But with the infection rate over here, presumably they still have to be reasonably careful because they don't want any COVID going through their ranks. So I don't actually know. Well, Sachin's got a place over here. Maybe they're all chilling out with Sachin. I presume it's quite a big house.
I doubt it. I doubt it very much. He's just up the road from Lord's, isn't he?
I think he's got a place either near Lord's or Holland Park, somewhere like that. And I imagine it's quite a pile. Ralph in. Oh wow, that's come back again. I think there was an inside edge by Gregory onto his pads though. He tried to slam it through the offside, and there's no run. There's 10 overs left after this, and England are 207. And that one wasn't a scramble team. Still came in, closed the face on it, and hit it into his pads. No foot movement from Gregory.
I think Harris Ralph actually bowled very well and been unlucky that he hasn't taken. Oh, he hasn't got a wicket.
No, he hasn't got a wicket. That's lamped into the leg side. That's a really good shot. It's a length ball, but it really didn't get up. And Gregory was able to rock back, slam it out through cow corner, and picks up a handy one of these. Just stood and delivered, Gregory. Not a bottom hand in that. And a really nice shot.
Yes. Well, I mean, they're playing exactly the sort of innings that they should at this stage. About 80 runs per 100 balls, which is about spot on.
Well, exactly. Hit a bad ball.
Left.
I mean, he's faced 29 balls. He's a genuine all-rounder, is Gregory, and that next ball is just defending the offside, and there's no run. Just can't take too many chances yet with 10 overs left after this. Play out another 6, I reckon, and they'll have a 4-over slog.
I'm just pleased it's setting up a good competition.
Yeah, and especially if England can get a couple of early wickets, could be a tight one. On the back foot, Gregory defends it into the leg side, out to mid-wicket. There's no run. I like the fact that Pakistan have got a short mid-wicket in. Which is not the norm.
Of course you do.
Well, of course I am.
Every time I see a run taken where there's no mid-wicket, I immediately think of you.
It just irritates me. It's one of those things that really irritates me. Gregory is going to face up. Last ball of Ralph's 5th over. It's full, driven, and it's out to mid-off. He's on the edge of the circle, and I'll get through for an easy single, and he'll retain the strike. 26 off 31 for Gregory, 24 off 31 for Cast. It's a good little partnership this. 210 for 7 England after 37 overs, 10 to go. Tweets and social messages.
Wrong. One thing about the Pakistan team for me that draws me in to watch them is which version do we see today? The one that reminds you of a Ferrari or a Skoda? Indeed.
Wow,
That's been the perennial problem, isn't it, for Pakistani?
Yeah.
Jay Grover, I read a book once. It were green.
Nice try.
I did start. There was a Booker Prize-winning book, The Long Road something or other, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yes, I know the one. It's Australian.
Yeah, and I really wanted to read it, and I read about the first 10 pages of it on holiday. And then I took it on the next holiday and started it again. And probably got
You've got to ease
pages.
yourself back into reading. Don't start with a Booker Prize winner. They can be very challenging.
Well, I like reading. It's just
try something easy like Ulysses.
Fahim is in, and it's pulled nicely by Gregory. Very fine, poor ball, and he'll get himself 4 runs, moving to the 30s. Good shot. short ball just angled into the body from wide of the crease, and Gregory just followed it round and helped it round fine. And finally,
just while we're on the topic, Ravi says, "Is the bear also a vociferous eater and drinker and smoker?"
You mean he talks with his mouth full?
Defended into the onside by Gregory, and he'll get no run to mid-wicket.
Sorry, Bear. Most disrespectful.
It's fine.
Yes.
I don't care.
See, that's why we love you, Bear. You're happy for us to laugh with you against you.
Oh no, that's cool. Fahim is in, third ball of the over, and that again comes in quite sharply off the wicket, and Gregory just jabs it down in front of him. There's no run. Run rate is 5.71. So I guess considering where they were, they'll be reasonably happy. The wickets that have fallen.
I think very happy, yeah. Considering, Carter's previous highest score in a List A game was 2. This is a considerable improvement.
Well, he doesn't look that bad, to be honest.
No.
Probably 2 because he's come out right at the end and had to try and slap it around the park. Actually some time. Gregory played that aerially through the onside, and mid-wicket and mid-on are quite close together, but he did manage to get it between the two of them down to what probably is the longest part of the ground. And they got back for 3, I think. Yeah, they did indeed. He didn't quite make it to the boundary. Gregory shakes his head. There's a little bit of a miss-hit. But they'll be happy enough. England move on to 217. I mean, with 10 overs to go, if they get 4 and over from here, they're up nearly 260.
Yeah.
And if these two can stay here till, I don't know, 44th over and then give it a bit of long handle and get away with it, they could even get up to 270, 280 still. I wouldn't expect them to, but with a bit of luck, it might happen. Cass is going to face up. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, actually, tried to slam it back down the ground. Big, thick outside edge goes through where the slips would be. Now to a fine third man. Third man is fine, and they only get the single. 1 ball left in the over, and Fahim has gone for 44. Can you go for 30 in his first 3 overs as well? Or was that Harris Ralph? Can't remember. And I thought we were supposed to have a capacity crowd today. It doesn't look particularly capacity to me.
That's the pavilion you're seeing. The pavilion is almost empty. The rest of the ground is pretty well full.
Okay. Fahim in, last ball of the over. It seems to be a slightly slower ball. It's just dropped down on the offside by Gregory, who calls through Cass and retains the strike. After 38 overs, 209 for 7.
Tiebreaker in the second set at Wimbledon.
Ooh.
Right. Pirate Badshah, there is nothing wrong with Skodas. Admittedly, that opinion comes from somebody without a driving licence, probably doesn't mean much. And David Football. Oh dear, I'm afraid, Bear, we're back onto this topic. I'm voracious and vociferous today. Would recommend White City Blue by Tim Lott for Bear. Don't know the fella, but reckon he'd like it.
What's it about?
I don't know, I haven't read it.
I was going to say something, I can't remember what I was going to say. We're going into the third power play.
One quickly from Dan Keatley. Pakistan cricket, like France rugby side, can be champs or palookas, depends.
Yep. France rugby's been pretty poor for quite a few years now. It's up and down. Ralph in, and Gregory forces out nicely out square on the offside. Man sweeping on the cover boundary, and they'll just get the 1 run. And, they should be starting to feel a little bit more confident, having recovered from 160 odd for 7. They're out 220 for 7, and a reasonable total is achievable.
Yes, it is, and it may not make you entirely happy because the GPL will come back into play.
Well, yeah, it will do. I don't mind. Sarfraz is behind the stumps. What happened to Rizwan? That's pulled down to deep backward square leg where Hassan Ali is fielding.
I thought my eyes had.
Apparently Rizwan's gone for a loo break.
Okay. You do that. Just bring on another keeper. then taking.
Presumably.
Okay.
I mean, his bladder control.
Used to be that
his bladder control is about as bad as mine. Then, if you need a loo break in the time it takes to bowl 38.2 overs, Ralph is in and it's defended by Gregory, and there is no run.
He didn't used to be able to do it. You couldn't bring a specialist fielder on. When did that change?
It changed a few years ago. I can't remember what brought it on, but I suppose it's the same for everybody then.
I suppose.
I remember watching a test match when Dhoni decided he was going to bowl.
Raul Dravid went behind the stumps, didn't he?
Yeah, I think that was when England beat them in that series over there, the last time they were beaten at home. Defended back down the track by Gregory, and there is no run. Hence his jingle about the Bucks Fizz one.
Danny Bishop reckons they've changed keepers just to fool him.
Yeah, they might well have done, Tone.
Tony's got a great record in terms of managing to call the wrong person as the keeper.
Yes. Ralph is up to the crease, bowls outside half of the bat by Gregory, squared on the offside out towards the cover boundary fielder, and it hits so poorly it allows them to get back for 2.
The Pakistani bowling doesn't look in the least bit threatening at the moment, does it?
It's weird, isn't it? Some of them are really going off the seam as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
they look very comfortable.
They do look very comfortable. I mean, I guess the ball is nearly 40 overs old, and
yeah,
there's a bit of luck.
Each ball is 20 overs old. Yeah,
yeah, true. Ralph in, pulled by Gregory, and out to Fahim, who's on the deep square leg boundary, and they'll get a single, and Gregory retains strike. Well, I mean, this is it. Gregory is a genuine batsman. He's played 41 balls. He doesn't have to take too many chances as they want to get to a reasonable score. I mean,
I've just read one tweet, and then we're up to date. Farong, the only Test Harari, Catano just hit a boundary, thus propelling his strike rate from 2.95 to 7.45.
Wow.
Big jump.
Spectacular. I just had a brilliant idea, actually. You know how they use 2 balls in 50 over games, one from each end, because they don't last 50 overs. Well, maybe they could make the game more interesting by using one for 25 overs, then bringing in a new ball at after 25 overs.
Oh, now that's an interesting thought.
Yeah. Try it.
Why not? It would make tactics considerably different, you'd imagine, wouldn't it? Now, Sarfraz has had his little jaunt out in the middle. Rizwan must have got off the pot, and he's back out in the middle. As Shadab is in, he's going to be one of the overs that gets 10. He's going to be one of the bowlers that get 10 overs. This is his 10th. It's just dropped out in the offside by Gregory. Gets himself a single. Cast back on strike.
I'm sad to say that Kotano is now out to Shakib Al Hassan for 7 off 102 balls.
Bloody hell. Defended. Down the track, cut the paces by Cast. Gets to the pitch of the ball. Not there to hit it, so he just defends it back to the bowler, and there's no run. Don't want to get out to Shadab in his last over. He's one of the more threatening bowlers, to be honest. That's driven nicely. I mean, he's got a long stride, so he can get out there. Out to the man on the deep cover boundary. It'll be a single. What's the score in the tiebreak?
Pliskova's leading 6-2 and on serve, so it looks like going to a third set.
Oh, interesting.
I imagine Messi with about 6 different screens all around him.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, only 4.
Just the 4, right?
It's pretty much like that here as well. It's defended in the offside, and there's no run. I've got 5 in front of me.
I have got the iPad, but I can't be bothered with starting Hot Mic, to be honest.
There's 12 people viewing on Hot Mic. That's driven by Gregory down towards long on. Sets off quickly, realises it's only going to be a single, slows down. And the score moves on to 227 for 7, and he moves on to 40. Cast
So
is on
we're due a
27.
change, aren't we?
Yeah, we are due a change at the end of this over. It will be me. No, it's not me. I'm out.
Nintendo and Tony and me.
Played into the onside. This time they are going to come back for 2 with little force. And that will be the end of me as Cast moves on to 29. 229 for 7 after 40 overs, 7 overs remaining. Hendo is back in with Tony and Forthy.
It'll be a
Catch
sad
you in a
day.
little while.
It'll be a sad day when it is the end of the Bear, but the Bear's going fine at the moment, and I'm back to carry through these final 7 overs. 7 overs. Yes, it is indeed 7 because we've had the game reduced to 47 overs per side. I'm on with Tony and Forthy, and
yes, you're up to date on socials, Tony.
Up to date. We're up to date on socials, which is great news. Now this is turning into a really, really good one-day international. It's had everything, hasn't it? Early wickets, carnage, more wickets, and a careful and clever approach to batting out your overs. Now, Gregory swings at the next delivery from Rolf, but is beaten by it, goes through to the keeper. Gregory has moved on to 40 from 45, Cast 29. And they've taken the score from 160 for 7, when it looked like England could quite easily be bowled out for 170, 180. And they've given England something to bowl at. At one point, we thought England might get 350, the way that Vince and Phil Salt were going. In comes Harris Ralph, the man with the wobble in his run-up, driven by Gregory, a tumbling figure at extra cover, does the fielding, and there is no run. Inspecting the bottom of his bat is Gregory, obviously toe-ended that ever so slightly. Really, really good partnership. This now worth 69. And Cast, who I think I put up a note, had only ever had one List A innings, in which he scored 2, is showing great maturity. 29 from 36. Ralph in again, short, pulled, and he's gone up in the air. Could be in trouble here if there's someone out there. There is indeed someone out there. And I come back and Gregory goes, and that's a shame because England were looking like they would get 260 here, but now they might be struggling to get 240. 2 Lancastrians to come, 229 for 8.
How's that? You messed about, I caught you out. How's that?
Yeah, it was the bouncer, and he ended up really playing that with a perpendicular bat.
He did.
It's very difficult to get over the top of something like that. You've either got to hit it all the way, or you're going to be in trouble. And it's Fuck as a Man was the man at deep backward square who took the catch. As a wicket for Harris Ralph, who's been struggling a little bit, and Lewis Gregory goes for a very well-made 40 from 47 balls. Tony,
absolutely. Who do we have? Nobody at the moment. Yes, we do. Farong on the change of balls front. How about they use flashing balls? I've heard there is a set about. Yes, okay. I think that one's directed at me. Did you say Bryden Cast had only played one List A game?
No, he's played 8 List A games, but he's only batted in 1.
Ah, yes, you are absolutely right.
And he scored 2. He scored 2. So I mean, he's a man who's not. He's got runs in first-class cricket, or I say he's got runs. He's got a few runs in first-class cricket. I think he's got a 90. And in a sense, that's the kind of position. It's more like a first-class game that he's coming into because he has to bat. That's the main thing. Actually, just stay there and get a few runs and pick up singles and 2s and whatever you can. And he's done that really well.
Yeah, no, he has done. Satan by name was saying must bring back Hassan Ali, who surely needs to complete his 10 overs.
Absolutely. That's right. I mean, Shaheen Afridi's only got, potentially he's got 2 more. It depends. They've already bowled Shadab Khan out. They're only allowed, 2 bowlers to bowl 10 and 3 bowlers to bowl 9, but they have actually used 6 bowlers so far. Saki Mahmood is the man out at the crease, and he's got a jingle that goes like this. A man who brought up in Rochdale, born in Birmingham, and playing for Lancashire now, of course, bowled so well on Thursday. Just trying to see what his batting record is like in List A cricket. Highest score of 45, which is good to know. No 50, so in comes Ralph, and he's onto the front foot, defending square on the offside or slightly backward, and there is no run. 7 overs or 6 overs after this ball. Another 30 runs for England makes it 260-ish. Is that going to be enough, or is it just going to be competitive?
It's more a question of whether they can get there with the wickets in hand, of which there are just 2.
Well, absolutely. I don't think Matt Parkinson is much of a batter. It's down to Cars and to Mahmood. They've kind of got to bat out at least for another 3 or 4 overs, I think. See what they can get in those.
Cars is
short ball. Yeah, very short ball. In fact, it's been given as a wide quite rightly. Went flying way over the top of Saqib Mahmood.
Wide.
Yeah, Cars is a respectable batsman. He happens to have an average of 2. That's not really his fault. He's got an average of. He bowls well as well. He's got 2 50s in first class cricket.
Yeah, no, exactly right. He can bat, but he's had to come and do it on the biggest stage. This one comes back, hits Mahmood high up on the pad or even the inside of the leg, where it can be quite sore if you haven't got an inner thigh pad on. But he doesn't seem too discomforted by it. It's the end of the 41st over. England are 230 for 8. Tony.
A few people with us, but Matthew Cullen, David Football says, I think Ralph might have chucked that bouncer, replaying it a few times, and has to be close.
Interesting.
That'll be interesting.
Oh, wow.
Someone was calling for Hassan Ali to come back and bowl his 10 overs. Well, he's got the chance because he's about to bowl his 8th. Excellent figures of 4 for 42. He's got the ball to nip around, jag back quite alarmingly at times. And that wicket that got Ben Stokes, it was a lovely looking shot from Ben Stokes, except he missed it. And the reason he missed it is it jagged in from round the wicket and took out his off stump. So Hassan Ali, certainly in his second spell, really, really impressive. And here he is in his 3rd. He's coming in from the nursery end to bowl to Bryden Cast. He's in. Cast goes back to Fens. There won't be a run here as it runs towards the man at point. And England remains 30 for 8. Yeah, sorry, 40.
No, it's okay. There's an argument to be put that the COVID which ran through the England camp has been a bit of a blessing in disguise, because we're finding out quite a lot about these peripheral characters.
Absolutely.
And one or two will probably force their way in over time.
Certainly got to be in the thinking, haven't they? Here is Hassan Ali again. Short outside the off stump. Has he got a little edge through? Mohammed Rizwan, the way he was diving forward, certainly thought so. Hassan Ali doesn't seem convinced. The DRS timer is going down, and Rizwan is shrugging, and they're thinking, well, we've still got 2 reviews. Maybe we might as well. So we're just waiting to see. Now 2 seconds, 1 second, and it looks like it's got away. They're not going to. Are they going to appeal? Decision reviewed. No, they have reviewed.
Good lord!
But we weren't being told by the director or the cameraman.
When did Rizwan sneak back on? Cheeky devil!
I know.
I didn't know he'd gone off.
He'd gone off. Sarfraz Ahmed had come on. I had to do a double take, and I thought they're doing this just to wind me up. Pakistan but then all of a sudden, Rizwan's back again.
It looked to me to the naked eye.
He's missed it by a mile.
And in fact, by ultra edge as well, he's missed it by a mile. So not much going for that one at all. And is it Alex Wolf, the umpire, who's able to say no, that is not out?
It is indeed Alex Wolf.
And England remain 233. I can let you in on the secret of our COVID commentator, who will be with you for the first session after the break. He's going to rise from his bed like Lazarus. Hassan Ali bowls, pulled by Cars. 1 bounce down to long leg, and they get through for a single. Did anyone guess who it was?
Not Fred.
No, it's not Fred. I know lots of people wanted it to be.
Surely not. Grubby.
That's a bit hard. No, it's not Grubby. I told you, it's an ambitious, thrusting young man.
Be Ed.
It's got to be Ed. It's Ed.
It is Ed. Right?
Everyone's favourite lawyer has gone down with serious illness, but he's going to rise from his bed and take you through the first 10 overs of the Pakistan reply. Hassan Ali in bowls, driven slightly on the up by Mahmood. He'll get himself a single out to deep point.
Is he asymptomatic?
No, he is symptomatic. He says it's like having a very bad cold. So he might sneeze a few times, but we need you to carry him on through. And if he shows signs of waning, you're going to have to boost his spirits. But we're going to be the first known broadcaster to bring you a COVID positive commentator. Another first for Guerrilla Cricket. Here comes Hassan Ali, 4 for 44, bowls to Carson. Very straight ball. He plays in front of his pad and notices that the mid-on is back, so there's a chance for a single. And
I had a yoga teacher once who was so spiritually aligned and in tune with the universe that she claimed she caught flu from her mother down the phone in a conversation. She just the vibes of her mother having the flu gave her the flu.
That is extremely worrying for the rest of us if we have Ed on Zoom.
Exactly. That's what I'm concerned about.
Can it get all the way to Melbourne? That's the question in the time allowed. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe they'll have to shut down all communications with Melbourne. Defended up to mid-on wouldn't be a bad thing, generally speaking. Of course, current people exonerated from that. 233 for 8 at the end of the over. Didn't really get very much further forward there, did they? Just the 2 runs, I think it was. And we have 5 remaining. Cast 31, Mahmood 1. Tony.
Yes, Oxymoronica was saying, is anyone looking forward to the 100 starting in a couple of weeks? Well, somebody must be, but I don't think many of us would probably be the answer. I don't want to speak for everybody, but...
Well, Forthy's meant to be writing a very nice article about that.
I am going to.
Have you started on it yet?
It's in my head. It's all up here. Don't worry, I just need to transfer it to the pen.
Well, the only thing that Carson needed to do there was transfer his weight onto the front foot, but he stayed on the back and he's chopped it onto his stumps. Ralph has a second wicket. England are not going to get 260. It's been a good knock from Carson, but a little bit disappointing these last 2 wickets. England looks as if they could get to 250, 260. They're probably going to end up around about 235. And Ralph has a second victim. Yeah, really good knock from him. Shame that it came to an end in the way that it did. Maybe he had 1 or 2 escapes like that a little earlier on where he inside edged and ball missed the stumps. So his luck ran out a little bit. But very intelligent cricket from he and from Lewis Gregory, who was with him for so long. And England can at least think they've made a competitive total on a day when at 160 for 7 it looked like they'd get nowhere near. Tony.
That B-string bowling attack, though, is going to have to bowl pretty well.
It is, and it's a very exciting batting lineup Pakistan have got. But I'm quite impressed with Kars. He's quite nippy, isn't he? Saqib Mahmood has been bowling well, and there is movement off the pitch. There's not a huge amount of swing, but there is definite movement off the seam or off the pitch. And if England can bowl in the right areas, as they say, then I think it'll still be quite a close match. Anyway, man coming to the wicket is the number 11. It's Matt Parkinson. And if England were to go on to win this, I think they might look a little bit at Babar Azam's captaincy. I thought he's done quite well. I'll tell you why he might not have after this ball. Ralph aims a drive. Parkinson comes off an outside edge all the way along the ground to third man, and they take a single. He was quite right. When the spinners got the breakthrough and they got those 2 wickets of Salt and Vince, he was quite right in going back to Shaheen Afridi at that point. And Shaheen Afridi nearly got the breakthrough, didn't he, with John Simpson edging that ball just between wicketkeeper and slip. Then he brought back Hassan Ali, who bowled really well and got deep into the England order. And around about that time, as Ralph is in again, bowls and beats Mahmood, who plays inside that one really, goes over the top of the stumps. And I thought at that point he might have given Shaheen another go. And if you'd had Hassan Ali and Shaheen bowling in tandem tandem to those two new batsmen in Gregory and Cast, they might have got another breakthrough, and England might be looking at a score of only about 180. But as it is, they've moved on to 234 for 9. You win some, you lose some. Maybe you wanted to get a few more overs into his backup seamers as well. Ralph in, driven aerially and dropped at mid-on. Quite a comfortable catch has gone down, I'm afraid. And so England live to fight for another couple of overs at least, or another ball at least.
The pimps in the crib, man. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
A really straightforward catch. That's
a shocker.
Is a really poor drop. Although the man involved is smiling broadly now. I suppose it's embarrassment. Outside the off stump, aims a cut shot, and I think he has got a thin edge on that one. Certainly the way Mohammed Rizwan tossed the ball in the air would suggest so, but he is of that kind of habit, and in fact Mahmood has got nothing on it.
Rizwan's an absolute devil for doing that.
He keeps doing it, doesn't he?
Fools me every time he does it. I go, surely that wasn't an edge, was it?
Yeah, it's a bit annoying. But there you go. One ball remaining.
I think he needs to get a single off this ball, because I've just had checked Parkinson's first-class batting.
Yeah, it's not impressive, is it?
It's not pretty.
In again, right up in the block hole, but somehow squeezed out very fine down to third man by Mahmood, and as if to order, he has got that single off the final ball, and England move on to 235 for 9. 4 overs remaining. Tony?
The comedian Ivo Graham was pointing out that England's highest 8th wicket partnership at Lords in a one-day international. And our friend David Football says Tri-Gorilla cricket much better than TMS.
Oh, that's what I like to hear.
Thank you for that. Well done, Dave. That's fantastic.
That makes me feel all warm and fuzzy.
Fuzzy.
Yes, Hassan Ali then to bowl his 9th over, 4 for 45. He's coming into Mahmood. There's a one wide slip. Imagine having a slip so late in the day in a one-day international. This is a bouncer, which Mahmood drops underneath without too much fuss. But it is another dot ball.
Funnily enough, there's another Matt Parkinson. Who dropped dead playing indoor cricket, but then resuscitated. He's a comedian and quiz show, slightly famous in Australia.
That is kind of worrying. Of course, Matt Parkinson got into trouble for some comments he made about Kohli, didn't he? Oh, he aims a big drive, a booming drive with this, and I think it was a slower ball from Hassan Ali, which beat him all ends up. He was through with the shot far too early, 74 miles an hour. And yes, indeed, it's very clever. Could have bowled him as well. He's not really moved his feet from the crease at all. He's just waved the bat at it. And he was
booming drive always seems to be used as a description for a ball that doesn't get hit. He aimed a booming drive, but you hardly ever gets used to actually when it is actually struck.
Good point. Flicked another full ball up to mid on, or long on, in fact. So this will be a very comfortable single. It will expose Matt Parkinson to Hassan Ali, who's looking for a fifer. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, Hassan Ali already has 3 ODI fifers, so he's looking for a 4th. But it is Matt Parkinson's duty to remain out there and stop him. 236 for 9. Mahmood 3, Parkinson 1. Here comes Hassan Ali, and Parkinson gets in behind it, defends it all the way back to the bowler.
Now, Tony, there's a bird that's always associated with booming in my mind as well. Would you go for the bittern? Said to boom.
Is it? I'd have to take your word for that.
Okay, right. I'll look to you for ornithology.
Well, I know, but I don't see many of those in my garden, Forthy.
Just because you
I'm an expert, just the ones in my garden, I'm afraid.
He certainly knows his magpies. Hassan Ali looks for the Yorker. A beautiful ball. Somehow Parkinson has got some bat down on that. Where's it gone? It's gone for 4, would you believe? Wow. In front of the
ball. Oh, my goodness.
Man at fine leg, couldn't get round, and England moved to 240 for 9.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Well, you really have to say that the bowler has not got what he deserves there. A really tremendous ball from Hassan Ali. I love Hassan Ali when he's on song. He's just such an eager cricketer, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is. Bouncing. The enthusiasm comes through his veins. Anyway, he's got one more ball of this over, his 9th. And he's running into Parkinson. He looks for the Yorker again, and somehow Parkinson has kept that one out. Hassan Ali cannot believe it. To coin a phrase, he did his raving nana there because he couldn't believe that hadn't got through. But somehow Parkinson had kept it out. And at the end of the 44th over with 3 to go, England are 240 for 9.
Extraordinary how that didn't take a wicket, but it didn't.
I thought it hit the stumps directly. I really did. And somehow there was wood involved, but it was a bit of bat.
You were right about these 3 ODI fifers, by the way. Mr. Singh is in good, fine form over on YouTube. If Pakistan bounce back today, definitely a time for the crypto market to bounce back. Not quite sure
Ralph comes in. He's looking for the Yorker, and actually Saqib Mahmood steps outside leg stump and hits what ends up being a full toss quite nicely through wide mid-on for 4 more runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The 30th boundary with 1-6, 30th 4, 1-6 so far in the game today. Ben Stokes, I think it was, who hit the 6, big pull shot, if I remember rightly. And Mahmood settles down. He's moved on to 7. Ralph is into his 9th over. Here he comes. Bowles are looking again for a Yorker. It ends up being a full toss. They've now put a man back at long on, so it's only going to be the 1. Fahim, the man who dropped Mahmood just an over or so ago, is the man who does the fielding. I was trying to think of other descriptions of Harris Ralph's run-up, and I thought it was a really good one from Knackle earlier about him trying to shrug off 2 assailants either side.
An elbow, giving an elbow to an assailant, yeah.
But I also thought maybe he's a bit like a sort of an out of control caravan on the motorway, sort of swerving from side to side. In he comes again. Bowles hits Parkinson on the pad. He was trying to whip that through square leg, but made no contact.
He rather looks like one of those characters who's being taken away to the cells in a movie, and is making kind of token gestures, even though they know they won't be able to free themselves, because it's almost expected of them.
I think that's another really good description, actually. Yeah, brilliant. We should put it out to the Twitter sphere. Other descriptions of Harris Ralph's run-up. It's a thing of odd beauty. Ralph in again. Bowles driven nicely by Parkinson, but picked up more or less by Ralph in his follow through to his left, and there is no run. The overall run rate from England today 5.49. At one point it was up at well over 7 when Vince and Salt were together, but England had to rebuild from 160 for 7, and
done pretty well to take it this deep, actually.
I think they have. I think they've done very well. But it was intelligent batting. It wasn't throwing your wickets away when you had 20 overs left, or even longer, in fact. Giving himself a bit of room this time and then carving it through the covers. Parkinson, it's only going to be a single. Out to the man at deep point. They move on to 246 for 9. And Mahmood has 8, Parkinson 6. Useful runs for England.
Not sure how sensible that was with 2 balls of the over left, but never mind.
Well, it's
taking the single.
I don't know. I think Mahmood's got time to get another single and get down the other end. In he is again. Bowls him a bouncer. It's a horrible, loopy tennis ball type bounce of a bouncer, and as it bounces again in front of Mahmood, seems to hit him in the cheek. Wasn't really in control of that. Anyway, nothing has resulted. It's not a wide. It's not no ball. It's not an injury. England, after 45 with 2 to go, are 246 for 9.
Question for you here, Hendo. It's from Farong. It's from Farong. He says, I really don't have any concept of this 100 thingy. Could Hendo give us a brief description of it?
It's 100 balls. It's 100 balls. I'm not quite sure how it's divided up into overs. I think you can bowl overs of 10 balls at a time. That's pretty much all I know about it. And then it's they say city franchises. It's not really city franchises. It's more regional franchises, I would argue. 2 in London, which seems a bit greedy.
Oh,
but
God.
there you
Honestly, I did all this research years ago, and they've totally ignored it.
Outside the off stump, and that's really flamboyantly played by Parkinson, giving himself room outside the leg stump, and it's gone out to man on the boundary edge. They've taken another single.
You've just reminded me of one of their pet theories at HQ, which is that if we could replicate football and have city franchises, people would get terribly excited. It's the county system that's holding us back. And my research clearly showed that's not the case.
Brilliant.
Doesn't
I want
work
more
that way.
I want more of that detail in the article. Oh, smashed by Mahmood. Where's that gone? It's gone straight down the throat of the man. Deep square leg. Harris Ralph takes it. Hassan Ali does have a 5-4. And England are finally all out with 10 balls left unused for 247.
Now you're gone. Oh.
Yes, indeed, that's the end of the England innings. I'll take you through the scorecard just in case you're joining us and you've missed bits because you've had to be away doing things like watching Wimbledon or whatever. Dawid Malan caught Shadab Khan, bowled Hassan Ali for a duck. Zach Crawley, who stood at the other end while Phil Salt was assaulting the Pakistan bowlers, finally got a first ball and was bowled by it. Shaheen Shah Afridi, wonderful Yorker from him. England at that point were 21 for 2 from 4.1 overs, but there was a magnificent stab between Phil Salt and James Vince before Salt, having added 97 with his partner, was bowled round his legs by Shakeel, I think it was, Saud Shakeel, who I didn't even realise could bowl, but he did. Left arm round the wicket, slow left arm orthodox. He made 60 from 54 balls with 10 fours, some of them great, some of them brilliant, some not quite so good. It was an interesting innings anyway. James Vince then went, bowled Shadab Khan, making room for himself. He'd made 56 from 52 with 8 fours. Ben Stokes made 22 before taking on Hassan Ali and being bowled by him. John Simpson made 17, also bowled by Hassan Ali. One looked to me as if it kept a little bit low. At that point, England were... Craig Overton then went, caught Mohammad Rizwan, bowled Hassan Ali for a duck from just 3 balls. At that point, England were in no small measure of trouble. They were 160 for 7. They'd lost 3 wickets for 4 runs. But Lewis Gregory and Bryden Cass set about repairing the England innings as best they could. And they stitched away for quite a while. Let's have a look at it. It was 13 overs in which they took the score on to 229. Lewis Gregory finally went hooking a ball that got a bit too high on him off Harris Ralph for 40 from 47 balls with 4 fours. Bryden Cass finally bowled by Harris Ralph for 31 from 41 deliveries. Saqib Mahmood, the last man out, caught Harris Ralph, bowled Hassan Ali, giving Hassan Ali his 5th. Matt Parkinson, 7 not out. 247 from 45.2 overs. The bowling figures: Shaheen Shah Afridi, 8 overs, no maidens, 1 for 37. Didn't even bowl his 9 overs. Hassan Ali, 9.2 overs, no maidens, 5 for 51. Fahim Ashraf, 6 overs, no maidens, 0 for 45. Harris Ralph, 9 overs, no maidens, 2 for 54. Shadab Khan, 10 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 46. And Saud Shakeel, 3 overs, no maidens, 1 for 14. So we shall have a little bit of a break, unless there are a number of tweets that you need to bring us, Tony.
There's a few. Well, I'll just quickly sprint through them.
Okay.
Diana on YouTube says, definitely a competitive score. Pakistan still need at least 2 big partnerships. DK says, good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you for the commentary. We're delighted to do it. Diana Patterson has a question for me. Says, I have a bird in my garden question for Tony Bishop. Do the magpies create a horrible racket when their teenage offspring begin to leave the nest? They drive me mad, but I've never heard an English person complain. And I replied just to let her know that the parakeets tend to drown out the sound of the magpies anyway. Oxymoronica says, do we think that if we ignore the 100, there's a good chance it will not take off, and could die a quick and miserable death? Not at the rate that they're giving tickets away to make sure that the stadiums are as full as they can be. Farong sends a picture of Harris Ralph like a cat waiting to pounce. And Ravinair says, Harris Ralph's run up is like a drunken camel trying to run a straight line because the police are watching. This is a rather convoluted analogy, but I kind of get it.
How many drunken camels do you see, to be honest, especially with police involved?
Yeah. Well, mind you, would you know? How would you know if a camel was drunk? There's a question to ponder as we wander into whatever our interval entertainment is. Bear, what is our interval entertainment?
What have you got for us, Bear?
Well, we're carrying on with the World Test Championship. I do have your thing done, Tone.
That wasn't what I was hinting for.
I know, but the thing is, of course, the break is probably only going to be about 20 minutes, and I'd rather give the thing a whole full worth, which would probably mean the first test against India, to be honest.
Are we talking about Tony's
CSA,
with the
the CS
supporters?
interview? Yeah, exactly.
Well, it does talk a lot about the 100, of course. That's its one advantage, maybe, but we'll see.
Well, we've still got plenty of games to go, haven't we? We've got one more ODI, we've got 3 more T20s before the 100 even gets underway. Okay, well, we will be back in about 20-25 minutes. I've put our COVID commentator on call, and hopefully he will be here, unless he's coughing too much. It'll be Ed, so give him all your encouragement. And Forthy, you're going to go to bed, aren't you?
I am. I've just got one final comment, Hendo. Last time there was an ODI at Lords, of course. The first team scored 241, and the second team failed to get past 241. So, of interest.
Good point. Very much. We'll keep an eye out for that. Thank you for that final contribution. We will hear from you, I think, on Tuesday as well.
Yes.
But until the Pakistan reply begins, we have some highlights for you.
Back! Same team as before lunch, funny enough, but me and Gary are swapping places. Can you hear us, Gary? You're on mute. You're on mute, mate.
Sorry about that. So the blue skies are shining on us down in Southampton, and shining on, who do we think? Are those blue skies shining on New Zealand or shining on India?
I still think New Zealand have got the best chance of winning this currently. Could change, as you said. A quick, blast from these two could switch things around.
Yeah, I mean 104 wickets in this session, 5 wickets in this session would be fascinating. I think that would give a lead of about 200 with 40 or so overs to go. I'm still not sure whether we get all the overs in or whether some can be lost, but I think they get all the overs in. But I'm sure tweeters will let us know on that. Umpires coming out. New Zealand in the huddle. Kyle Jamieson literally head and shoulders above all of his compatriots there.
I think New Zealand will be trying to get India all out for a roundabout. I mean, they'll want 150, 160 lead tops.
Yeah, I mean they won't be comfortable even at 150. They'll want 120, but that would be quite a collapse. There'll come a point. I think where India have a lead of 200, where you might get in that situation where the umpire gives a batsman out, and it's the fielding captain who asks for the review so they can keep them in because they may fancy a shorter time batting out a draw once they believe that, say, 230 in 35 overs is not a conceivable chase.
Well, but the flip side of that,
the batsman out there.
But the flip side of that,
off, of course.
The flip side of that is, of course, that India probably won't believe they can bowl New Zealand out at 35 overs. They'll probably, if they want to win this, they'll probably want 45, 50 overs, you'd have thought, which only gives them 20 overs, 25 overs to get the runs they would require. This is why I think New Zealand are in the box seat, really, in the chance of going for a win.
Oh, I don't concur with that. I think India will think even with 25 overs they'll have a sniff of it, because there's been collapses all over the world in Test cricket over the last 5 or 6 years of sides being bowled out in well under a session. Didn't they have Australia sort of 28 for 9 or something like that at some point? I mean, Australia seem to have been 20 odd for 8 or 9 quite often. Of course, they themselves were bowled out for a very low score, weren't they, in Australia in the winter? So
36.
I don't think they'll be writing it off, and they've got a couple of world-class spinners, albeit on a pitch that hasn't shown much propensity to spin. But we all know what it can get like when fielders are around the bat and there's lots of excitement in the air, a lot of pressure, a lot of talk, a lot of chirp. And in Ashwin and in Jadeja, they've got a couple of players who can work on that trauma for batsmen. But we've got a different bowler who's going to open up, not unexpectedly.
Well, he's bowling too.
Richard Punt.
And it will be.
And that's the story of how Kyle Jameson became a man.
Yes, he's got something of a Steve Reeves look, if not a Frankenstein frame, as Frankenstein's monster frame, as this ball goes through to the keeper. We'll say hello to Nestle Boy. Hello.
Hello. I was on a completely different thing. I was interested in your Richard Carapaz for the tour, Gary.
Yes.
It's probably going to come from Ineos, isn't it?
Well, you do think they've got so many cards to play, and Carapaz is in form. He's just won the Tour de Suisse, and he has a Grand Tour victory under his belt. And I think he may just go under the radar. And on that double ascent of the Ventoux coming up,
that's brutal.
It is. Down the track comes Richard Pant, trying to give a bit of brutality to Jameson, and as he's done almost every occasion that he has danced down the track, he missed the ball. So no change in approach from Richard Pant over lunch, and I really think he's a better batsman than this. You know, his bottom hand goes off the bat. He's trying to hit it far too hard. He's got no kind of shape. You know, the best that's going to do is going to go straight up in the air.
Second ball of the afternoon session.
Yeah. Who do you fancy for Le Tour then, Nestle Boy?
I'll let you know after this.
As Jameson's in, and this jumps a little, but we're used to that from Jameson, and Pant just deflects the ball down into the gully, where is that Tim Southey? Tim Southey, yes, I think it is, reflecting on a couple of drop catches in this match.
I like Carapaz as well, but there are so many potential winners.
There are.
It's very hard. You know, you think of one person, then you go, oh no, hang on, what about? You know, it's a hard one to pick, this one. But going up Ventoux twice is just fucking nuts.
This is defended, and this is a smart single taken by Richard Pant. The only thing about that is that they don't finish at the top. There is a downhill element before the finish, so there is the opportunity. There are, I think, only 4 summit finishes.
Going up once would kill anyone.
Well, they may just go up in the autobus. They may just somebody might attack off the front. You know, a climber who's deliberately lost time in order to get a chance to win the Queen stage might be let go. But I suspect all the GC men will just coast up the first time, and as much as one can coast up.
I've stood on it and looked at it and just thought, no way on earth.
The Giant of Provence, as this goes through to BJ Watling, who will have had some ice on his fingers as well as ice in his drinks at the lunch interval. India lead by 99. Jadeja has 12. He's batted beautifully. Pant a little frenetically, but he has 29. And when last I looked, I had 0 test match runs. So,
you sure?
Yeah.
Who's the winner there? Jameson 2 for 22 off 17 overs, and he's about to finish this over. He really is a wonderful bowler. I know we've sung his praises. He's over the wicket to the left-hand Jadeja, who just drops the wrists on that. Sensible play from Jadeja, goes through to the keeper. It's the end of the over. India 131 for 5, and your tweets.
Well, Brian Barish has been very American today. He says, "Good day and good morrow, cricket fans. I was about to ask if it's too late to petition the ICC to not have an end time on today in order to ensure an actual result. They don't like draws, Americans, do they? Make them stay out late and break out the pink ball. But we might not need it with 5 down," he says.
Well, it's today is 2 days after the longest day of the year. It'll be light here till about 10:30 anyway. They wouldn't need a pink ball till about 9 o'clock. So they could go a lot later, Brian, but they won't.
Yeah, they all want to be off so they can watch the T20 on the telly from Cardiff anyway.
Well,
there's a football on tonight, as there is, isn't there? Alfric Cricket Club have tweeted us saying, "Make or break session. Love watching Pant bat." Yep, so do we. Even though he's a bit of a loon.
It's exciting. This man's going to bowl.
Yeah.
Given a shiny red ball that unleashed upon the pitch. He is Neil Wagner, the destroyer.
And he's round the wicket, left arm to the left-handed pants, and somewhat inevitably the ball goes way down the leg side to BJ Watling. Surprised, really. I thought Southey would have opened up after lunch. You play your two best bowlers to start the session, Jameson being one of them, Southey probably the other one. But they're going to work on Pants' ego with Wagner. And immediately he attempts to hit Wagner to Portsmouth, but misses the hook. He's missed an awful lot of deliveries for Shad Pants in this innings.
Wow.
It goes through to BJ Watling.
He missed that by miles as well, didn't he? Just through the batter.
He was late on it, and he was well under it. Again, he's shown good judgment in some of his knocks, particularly in Australia here. I mean, surely just have a little look at it after lunch. Just 4 or 5 balls or something. Just get yourself back into a rhythm. A short leg, I wouldn't want to be standing there. This is off the hip, and it's an easy run down to long leg, and through for that, where Trent Boult is doing the fielding, perhaps reflecting on why he's not bowling. Thumbs up from Pant to Jadeja.
He believes in all his own now 100. He believes in all his own hype, Gary.
Yes, indeed. We'll come to your tweets at the end of the over. You can tweet us at Gorilla Cricket, and if Evil Scootus wants to give us his tip for the Tour de France, I'm sure we'll take that one.
When does it start? Sunday?
Saturday, I think.
Saturday.
This ball is through to BJ Watling, who takes it, and there is near run.
I'm not sure this is a great line here.
No, it's I'm not sure it's the line he wants to bowl. I think he wants to bowl into the body of both players, cramp them for room, and get them mistiming the big shots into the leg side. But his radar is a little askance at the moment. Jadeja, who probably won't slug as much as Pant, is in. Again, he just goes onto his toes, drops the ball to the man running in from Gully, who I think is Devon Conway, and there is no run.
Do you think we'll get a run out?
It's always possible, and these two are trying to bat positively, trying to put the pressure back onto the bowlers, and one way you can do that is by dropping and running. They're both pretty quick between the wickets, but you do have the idea that calling may not be the leading skill of either of them. This is into the body again. It's a little better in the way of a line, but Jadeja just arches his back. It goes through to the keeper. Just one from the over. India 132 for 5.
And on cue, Angelic Scooters tweets, "Evening all, and it turns out I tune in when Gary and Nestlers are discussing the tour. You could almost say my ears were burning." Spinner Grace says, "I can finally switch away from the sycophantic drivel on Sky." Brian Barrish says, "Party foul on Gary Naylor for not saying Jameson's figures in Richie's voice. I'm disappointed." And he also says, "For the record, I have no issue with ties. I think the NFL and NHL should bring them back and weight them as they so in soccer or football, so the wins are worth 3 times what the ties are." Well,
here's Jameson, and this ball is just defended by Pant. Goes to short extra. There is no run. I was postulating in my final over of the week in county cricket at the Guardian a couple of weeks ago that in the Vitality Blast, that's the domestic T20 competition, if there is a tie, I think they should go to a super over. I mean, what do we lose? The fans are there, give them what they want. I think they should do that, but instead we have ties. I know it's a group stage, but I still think a super over.
Oh, you must have a super over. T20s deserve super overs.
I think so too. That's through to the keeper. It's a bit of a half-hearted shot from Pant there. He sort of left the bat at one that was wide and short, and he sort of hung the bat out to dry. He's got to get back to playing positive shots here. Drive the full ball, cut the ball that's wide, hold the ball that's short on the leg stump, and defend the ball that's hitting the top of off. He doesn't need to have too many thoughts in his head here, Pant. At the moment he's thinking, do I charge it, do I sit deep in the crease, where am I going to hit this for 6? And needs to clear some of those thoughts, as he does to his credit here, and just defends slightly open bat face that goes to Devon Conway at short extra. and there is no run.
Ravi says all the excitement may have gone by the last session, but give Test cricket credit. 6 days gone, and it's still exciting now with all 4 results still a possibility.
Indeed, all 4 are. Knuckle was absolutely right earlier today when he said that if the scores are level but the batting side have not lost